Guys, listen up. As you get older, the best way to continue to look young, exuberant, and vibrant is to continue to take care of your skin. That's why I'm excited to have Teej Hanley as a sponsor of today's video. You heard me talk about them before, and you're going to continue to hear me talk about them because I believe in their products and the positive impact that they have on every man's life. Teej Hanley makes taking care of your skin so easy. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing that you don't. Every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. Lapeef family, I must admit, skincare wasn't always something I always focused on, but since I started using this system, I've seen improvements in the way my skin looks and feels. And you don't have to take my word for it. They have over 5,000 five-star reviews on their website from satisfied customers from around the world. I recommend you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: a daily face wash, an exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer, and a PM moisturizer. In addition to amazing skin, members of Teej Hanley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off retail price, the ability to customize your box, pause or cancel at any time, and free US shipping. And because Teej Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click that first link in the description and you'll get 30% off your first box plus the free gift. Seriously, that's an amazing deal. Even though it's too early, as I often say, it's never too late. Click that link and get started today.
I guess I got to add myself to the stream. How y'all doing today? All right, it's your boy Trigger Mike on Monday, June 19th. Oh, that means it's Juneteenth. I guess I'll say happy Juneteenth to all the people. It's been a very messy Juneteenth. Let me explain. A lot of people are very grumpy. They got to work today. I don't know what to say. I think in Texas here, they have a law where you don't have to recognize most or all federal holidays, something like that. You know, if you work for an organization, they already know they got to give you Christmas. They got to give you 4th of July. I think most organizations, especially the big ones, if they are not closed, they will give you time and a half. But small organizations and small businesses, if they're not closed, they're not giving you time and a half for Juneteenth. And not only did my wife have to deal with this morning, I got colleagues returning emails, trying to do blackety black stuff. I don't know if y'all know anything about me. I don't do that. I don't talk about race in the professional workplace. I'm gonna just be real with y'all. It's the women that do it. That is the most unprofessional thing I've ever seen. They are literally finishing every email off with, "Can you believe we got to work on Juneteenth?" I can believe it. And we're salaried employees. I can believe that we have to work on Juneteenth. To the people who own these organizations, it is just another day. They sent out a nice email. What do you want to say? Commemorative email recognizing that it's Juneteenth, and let's get back to freaking work. I mean, y'all, what did you expect? I'm not gonna lie. What did you expect? I am not sending back any emails saying I can't believe this travesty. I have ignored every single one of those emails that came to me. To me, it's actually professionally irresponsible to be talking about race on company-provided email systems. Like I've never seen anything stupider. I'm not gonna lie to you. But yeah, I'm dealing with a lot of that this morning. It's been a rocky Juneteenth. People feel a certain type of way that they got to go to work. I mean, if you're at work, let me know. Are you at work right now? Are you at work? Trey, I see what you're saying. Who's working? Oh, damn. I'm trying to click on the wrong screen. This stuff is highly unprofessional, bro. I ain't answering none of these people. But anyway, how y'all doing, man? It was a great weekend. Did you have a good Father's Day? I had an excellent one. I hope all of the fathers, and let me, you know, I do people watch, but I guess another way to say that in the digital space is I kind of watch the atmosphere of what's going on with my followers, my friend groups, just the, you know, hashtag Father's Day, that type of stuff. There is more and more attention being paid to dads. I feel as though that is likely due to, I think that's because we have literally been slamming people, especially the women who like to call themselves fathers. I saw that downplay. I didn't see any actual. I saw people trying to make little slights. I know I saw one woman put something up such and such father been saying he's going to set something up with her. It's like, what a great day to bring that up. That's your own personal issue. In fact, that's reflecting your own personal choices in men. I hate when women tell on themselves like that. You got 2 baby daddies, ain't none of them shit. I guess you ain't learned your lesson the first time. But today is our day. We're not going to let you bring the mood down. That's the way I felt about it. Anyway, so yesterday I did notice a lot of love for dads. And one of the things that I saw that I was very proud of, dads, you got to allow yourself to receive love as well. We got to stop being these I don't need nothing type of dudes. Let people celebrate you. I felt celebrated. My wife took me out to, after church, we went to Saltgrass. I haven't been there in years. Boy, I got me a big old steak with some grilled shrimp, big old buttery steak too, with some grilled shrimp on the side. The broccoli was good. Children were all right. It was, they 4 and 5. They were a little, but it was hot out there. It was hot outside. We sat outside. Then she bought me a facial. Boy, I fell asleep on that damn table. What is it? The esthetician? Is that what you call the esthetician? That felt heavenly. If you see my skin glowing, if you see this skin glowing today, you can thank my wife for that. If I'm looking extra chocolatey, okay, all right, shit. The only 2 times I've ever had a facial, that lady bought me a facial. That was excellent, excellent. Had my skin looking good. Only part you don't like about the facial is when they got to press like some of them blackheads out. I almost punched that lady. God, woo! There are so many receptors or whatever you call it. Boy, when they got to press down on your face, boy, that's just painful. But other than that, it felt lovely. It felt lovely. But welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Trigger Mike Show. Salute to all our viewers nationwide and international. Very happy to be with you on this Monday. All right. Shout out to everybody in the U.S., up north, down south, south central, Midwest, West Coast, everybody in the mountain regions. We got some people in Arizona watching. I want to say salute to you. Thank you for coming through. Like the video if you have not. Like this stream. We usually put a poll up to remind people to do that. But I'm going to tell you right now, we got 45 likes, 111 people watching. Please get those likes up right now. So that will help the YouTube algorithm. So hit that like button for that. Share this out if you have not. Let people know. And every once in a while, y'all share good topics, because it's hard for us to get ladies on this show. I know some of the dudes be talking crazy and all of that, but I want to know, this is a topic that I want the ladies to partake in heavily, because this has a lot to do with you as well. I am somebody who likes to be factual. Okay. I have my own opinion, sure. And I don't try to present, at least I don't mean to present my opinion as fact. But I'm never going to ignore peer-reviewed statistics. If it's some of those statistics that are purely skewed, or it's not even a stat, it's really just a study and some findings. Because when we talk about stats, we got to see how they were collected so they can be concrete, good information. That's not all the stats that we look at. When you look at systems such as government systems, I call those statistics because they have access to all or most people in the 90th percentile. They can survey, they can find you, they know what race you are, where you live. Those are actual statistics that we can use. But some people just will take something out of a region that they're in and, put that out and pretend it's the whole. No, I don't use those stats. So I try to be factual. And one of the things that I've been noticing, one of the things that I have noticed is that even if we married off every marriageable black man, there still wouldn't be enough because the women outnumber us. All right. So we played it last week on Friday in the polygamy episode. Y'all remember? That dude was speaking facts. I don't know what you call him. I'm not even going to try to attempt it because I don't want to desecrate anybody's religion. But it looks like a religious leader. I believe he was of the Islamic faith. And he said, the women outnumber you. There are millions of sodomites, which he meant rainbow people. So take all of those men. Oh, not only that, there are 98% of the prison population is men. So take all the men that are in prison. Take them out. They're not marriageable. And you take all of them out, you cannot marry off every marriageable woman. Because the same way we suggest that all men aren't marriageable and not worthy of a woman and to have his bloodline continued, we need to also say that all women are not marriage material either. But even the ones that are, that meet that basic minimum criteria, the type of woman that men would choose for that, we don't have enough men in any ethnic group, I don't think, to marry them off. All right. So some women will go alone. Some women will have to date interracially. I'm just going to say it. I know some of y'all are really blackety black, super pro black, but in the black community, especially, it's going to have to be an option for you. This is what makes this conversation very interesting. Because according to the statistics, and this is, self-reported statistics, one of the ones that you can believe because it's men saying it. The way they categorize men and women, our women specifically in the black community are the least desired for a multitude of reasons. I think that it can actually be changed. I do not believe it's aesthetics wise as far as beauty or anything, because you see the way, and I'll be the first one to tell you, I see the way white men behave for fit, feminine, friendly, and natural black women. Those are actually in short supply. But the way they behave for fit, feminine, and friendly black women, you can make a very good assumption to say if more and more black women were like that, white men would be all up in our business, all on this side trying to get our women. I can make that. I've seen it as an anecdote. You can see it in the type of woman that they choose. They love African women. Jesus, they love African women, right? So some of them from different tribes are very thin, so do with it what you will. This is a topic that we can all talk about today. My girl, Fantasy Island girl, you can get in on this topic. This is obviously one that you can speak on with from actual experience. So I want to talk to you all about this today. And I got some points I want to make before we get the panel popping, because I want to hear everybody's thoughts on this. I got some questions. I got some questions for the chat. I got some questions for everybody that's going to come up on the panel. But we need to have a real discussion, because I've heard even Payne say on this panel before, interracial dating is like evolution. It's going to happen. And he's right. I mean, even when I don't tell people they are right on the spot, that's because they make statements and put things on our brain that we have not heard before. And I'd like to think of myself as a thinker. So when somebody says something like that, I'm like, I'll sit with it. I'll ponder it. I'll try to weigh it against my other, thoughts and beliefs and say, no, he's right. If we are going to live and integrate everything in America, we're also going to have to realize families and cultures are also going to be integrated at some point in time. At some point in time. That's just going to happen. I think one of the biggest groups that you're going to see, it's not going to be black and white. That's been so stigmatized for such a long time. It's not going to be black and white. I think what you're going to see in this country with the influx of, I hate to say it this way, illegals, but coming from South America and all that, no disrespect, I'm just saying it, but illegal, Mexicans, South Americans, they're going to, people in the same class group are going to end up together. Because one thing I know for sure, and one thing I've seen, is that wherever Black and Hispanic people are, because they're usually in the same class group, right? Usually their neighborhoods are very close together, or they live in the same neighborhoods, especially out here in Texas, in the Houston area. like a large majority of those girls date black guys. A large majority of black guys date Latino women simply because they're in close proximity. I'm not gonna, well, I'm gonna put his business out there. My nephew, I don't think he told his mom yet, but my nephew on, on my wife's side, that's all he date. Like literally, he'd be over here, I'd be looking at his phone, be FaceTime, be like, oh shit, nope, not black. He got like 3 of them. I'd be like, oh, nope, not black. But he goes to school with damn near all Hispanics. What can you expect? He's a teenage boy growing into himself. He's gonna like what's around him. So I think that's a big one to look for, man. Black, you about to see so many black Latino kids out here. It's not even gonna. You're like they're gonna have to create a new race to describe them or something. That's gonna go way up. Forget white and black. It's gonna be black and Latino. That's gonna be the biggest boom in interracial dating. But the interracial dating boom is upon us. I've dropped the link in the chat. Let me drop it one more time for those of y'all that want to come up and say your piece on this, because I see some of y'all don't want this to happen, and I also want to talk to you as well. So I don't believe interracial dating is always just about someone's race. I don't believe interracial dating is always about someone's race. Let me explain what I mean by that. I believe people have an incentive to date within other cultures. Let me explain, because we try, at least, right? We try to dive a little deeper into things on the Trigger Mike show, not just the surface argument. Because I can tell you right now, every single day on Instagram, I'll be scrolling through and I will probably look at 30 posts involving either black men or black women that make me say out of my mouth, this culture is trash. You do it, I do it. I think even women do it and kind of be like, ooh, that's a bad look. They won't say anything, but they internally, they know this culture is trash. Some of the stuff that we do outwardly, god damn, this is what we put out in the mainstream for the world to see, to represent us as people. That shit is trash. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree. Taraji P. Henson is 50-something years old and wore like pasties to some premiere of Gabrielle Union. I could not believe it. And this, I could not believe it. This culture is trash. 50. Hold on. Just so I'm accurate. How old is Taraji P. Henson? How old is 52 years old? This lady is 52 years old. Wore some damn pasties. Dog. It just makes it like I was like, this culture is so trash. So this is what I mean. If you are a man, this, like, ladies, I need y'all to pay attention. Sometimes when a man wants to represent himself a different way, and I'm gonna even use me as an example, because I'm gonna be honest, I never saw myself dating or marrying anything other than an African woman, and that means Black American or actually from the continent of Africa, even Caribbean, because they from Africa too. I don't know why y'all call them Caribbean, like that's where they're actually from. Them niggas is African too. Wagwan, okay? So I've never seen myself marrying anybody but a black woman. But it was extremely difficult for me to find someone that I culturally aligned with, that had the same values, principles, and virtues. And what I mean by that, hear me out, is that if I was single right now and I was dating the average modern black woman today, and I picked my phone up and showed it to her and be like, look what Taraji P. Henson wearing. This is crazy. This is low class. The average American black woman would have been like, I don't see nothing wrong with that. Put a 1 in chat if you agree. If I'm tripping, let me know. They'd have been like, I don't know. She's single. She could do what she want. I don't know. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's what I mean by values. We got different principles, values, and outlooks on life. Because I'm quoting someone here. This is not mine. I'm quoting someone here because I saw this in a clip yesterday. I just don't know who to quote, but pardon me for forgetting who to quote. The clip simply said, "Marry someone you'd be comfortable with your daughter being like." I had a hard time finding that. I have a daughter, and I am 100% comfortable if she ends up being exactly like her mom. 100% comfortable with that. I do not think the average man that's dating out here today can find that comfort in knowing that you are okay if that woman taught your daughter everything in your absence. I don't think the average man can find that easily. And what I mean by this, let me say, I believe people have an incentive to date within other cultures. The reason why I say that is because let's take a Black American girl that's dating a Nigerian man. That is a rude awakening. That is a rude awakening because we're both Black. That's what I mean by interracial dating is not just about race, it's also about culture. Some people could make a strong argument that intercultural dating is just as hard. A Black American girl dating a Nigerian man is in for a rude awakening. I can actually give you that because the cultural norms are very different. He will show Taraji P. Henson picture and be like, look at this trash. And the second she tries to make an excuse like let that woman live her life, he gonna have a problem with her. He gonna want to expound on the topic. So you telling me you would wear this? You telling me if that you were my wife and I wasn't around and you were just going to a friend's event, you would walk out of our house looking like this? Hell no. Hell no. Cultural norms are very different. So we also have to give that consideration that intercultural dating can be just as difficult as interracial dating. Because other cultures can practice values and principles that your ethnic group may be lacking at the moment. Y'all understand? Y'all following me so far? I believe some people date interracially because they care about family legacy and they want people who come from a strong family background. Right now, I'll tell you, because it's not just about Black people. If you listen and really put your ear to the ground out here, especially in the suburbs, white people are fucking up too. I have no idea in these YouTube streets why y'all exalt the name of white people so goddamn bad. I keep telling you that in the workplace, I don't compete with white people. I'm not scared of white people. Put me up next to 5 white counterparts. Think I'm going to score better than them on damn near everything. And you know how I know? They get scared of me once they see my last name. They crack little jokes like, "Oh, you Nigerians out here trying to take over the world. Aha, ha, you exposed yourself. You're afraid." Good. We do not look at white people the same. Me and other Black people do not look at white people the same. I literally see where they're fucking up. Their women are screwing their families up at the second greatest rate. They have the second lowest marriage rate, second highest rate of divorce. Y'all keep exalting white people like they are the crowning jewel of America. They are not. Coach K will come up here and tell you she white. A bunch of white people will come up here and tell you they white. They're like, they are fucking up out here. So if your particular ethnic group, let's say white and Black people, most notably in America, is screwing up and you don't think you can get good representation from the pool that you're dating from, I think some people will date interracially for just that reason. For just that reason. Y'all keep competing with whites. I'm competing with Ahmed. I'm competing with Han. I'm competing with my cousin Ade. I'm competing with Bisola. I ain't competing with John. John ate my dust a long time ago. Y'all should have seen it when I started competitive shooting. They were like, who are these black people? Oh, will you do this? Then we took that shit over. Give us our respect. They see us coming. They start cleaning their tools. Like, boy, these boys can shoot. God damn it. Mike's here now. I ain't gonna get my homeboy name out. Even his wife be out there killing it. They start cleaning their stuff. Like, these boys just naturally good. Oh God, the natural athletes are here. We're not winning today. We're not scoring the best today. Stop comparing yourself to those people. They struggling just like we struggling. I actually put myself up against people with good results. I think, don't quote me, because the Nigerian divorce rate is somewhere in like 8% or something like that. The Indian divorce rate is 1%. So if I want to compare myself to anybody, I'm comparing myself to them. I'm looking up to them. They're the ones with the results. I ain't looking at white people. They just as bad. Y'all tripping. All right. The New York Times. One of the questions and one of the things we're going to talk about. I see y'all in the back. Bring y'all up in about 30 seconds. The New York Times had an article titled Interracial Dating. Do you hide your true self while dating? That's a very interesting read. I'll drop the link in the chat so y'all can go take a look at it at your leisure. Don't leave the stream because I got numbers right now. Don't leave the stream, but I just put that in the chat. And this is another point I wanted to make about interracial dating, which I think is very important. It suggests that black people code switch, which, as you know, means change the way we talk, look, and act in social settings much more than other people do. I think this will affect women more than it does men. I don't know too many men that don't behave like themselves when they dating other. I don't know too many men, but I think a lot of women will have to conform to make sure that other man still likes you, because you have to get chosen, right? But we could talk about it. Let me bring the fellas up. What's going on today, fellas?
What's good with you, Trevor?
Oh man, chilling,
All
bro.
right.
All right, Trey, you were up first. What's going on, Mr. Kevin? Trey, you were up first, bro. What are your opening thoughts? Interracial dating, is it the new norm?
I'm not sure if it's the new norm. I think most people are still pretty race loyal at the end of the day. However, I do think it has a lot to do with proximity. I got cousins who, went to all white schools, and maybe there was like 17 black girls in the entire school. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the odds of him ending up with a white girl was, was pretty good, pretty good. And then he wound up going to a college that was, what do they call it, a private white institute, PWI, whatever. He wound up going to one of those. So, the odds of him ending up with a white girl, they're probably pretty good, right? I've got some cousins who are married to, Jewish women. I've got, I just don't think that it's the new norm. I do think, though, proximity does play a large role in it. Who you're around, how often you're around them. And then at the end of the day, it also has to do with what you're actually attracted to. I know some black guys that they're just not attracted to black women. That's not their cup of tea. That's not what they're looking for. That's not what they want. I know some guys that are attracted to Hispanic women. I know some guys that are attracted to, Ukrainian women. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. They are attracted to what they're attracted to. And that's where they're going to go after. I think for the most part, most people still are race loyal today.
Okay, bet. Pain.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Trey. Proximity matters. That's why I think that interracial marriage and dating and marriage is evolutionary. Not only evolutionary, it's inevitable, right? As the world gets smaller, as people live together, I don't know if the United States still exists 100 years from now. Race is not going to be the kind of problem it is today. It's going to be more class and everything else. That's if we don't destroy ourselves before that. But just pure love power is changing everything. And, I don't know how taboo it is to see black men and black women and black women with white men. We know that very, very ultra high achieving black women, they tend to marry outside the race a lot, right? Vice President Harris, Supreme Court judge, some high profile women black women who might be CEOs. It's not uncommon to see that they have white husbands. I thought you made a good point about fit, feminine black women and natural white men like them, right? That might even help solve some of the black women weight problem, because they would have to compete for those white men, and black women don't like to compete for us. They don't, not with fit, feminine, friendly. They compete with black men just over sex and money. But you know, so it's interesting. So I mean, you know, I don't begrudge anybody who goes across the other side of the fence. I just think it's going to happen. You know, we'll just have to live with that kind of stuff. You know, Dr. Umar Johnson's going to have a tough time with that next 50 years.
You know, I should have invited his ass. Yeah. I should have. Nah, I wouldn't be able to hold my composure if he came on the show. You know, he got. Listen, we say what you want about him. He is consistent on that particular thing. He does not change his position. But all right.
Yo, do y'all ever see white men with overweight black women?
You will never.
Like I know we see black men with overweight.
No, very few.
All the time.
It happens, but it's rare.
Okay. Yeah, because I was thinking about that yesterday. I hardly ever see white men with overweight black women.
You won't see it. Because this is something, I don't know. This is an observation that I've made. Even though they are ruining their marriages, they still have somewhat of an established family structure in the white community. And I think in the black community, you pick who you want because you don't expect to be challenged by anybody. Not your mother, not your father, but they still have to pass their choice through to that family structure. You know, if you grew up with around a few white people, you see what I'm saying? The moms are very critical of boyfriends, dad's very critical of boyfriends, mom's very critical of girlfriends like that. So if you bring an overweight black woman, because it's still about legacy in most of these families. So they're looking like, man, what? You know, everything is about appearance. It's about it's about appearance. This does not look good on our family. We don't choose women like this. Our women, you know, they're very logical or vain about it. So I think that has to do with it as well.
So, Mr. Mike. Okay, so first of all, you know, I'm gonna say to your nephew, what up, nephew? What up, nephew? In Dr. Umar style, I'm gonna say it twice, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, but the other thing too is, and I don't want to get off the subject here because I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna get right back on the subject. Is that's actually part of black culture too? You got to pass the smell test with the family over here too. See, mm-hmm. You know, and some people kind of have this idea that you know, I understand, you know, lack of fathers and all this other stuff and everything else, but if you're trying to marry one of my daughters, you're gonna have to come see me. You got to get through me. You got to get through the other men in the family, and we got to bless off on you. So that it's a cultural thing. It just depends on, you know, whether or not you have those men available. But yeah, if you coming over here to try to marry one of my daughters, and you're gonna have to come see me. I'm the first checkpoint, by the way. So that's a cultural thing.
No, but you're making, not only do you make an excellent point, it's where the fathers are present.
Okay, so
right.
Yeah, that's a huge issue in the black community. One, and then two, if a man does bring his fat black girlfriend to his mom, there's a good chance his mom is also fat too. So she ain't gonna say shit. So we don't have necessarily the same standards. We might have the same procedure going on, but I don't think it's necessarily the standards that align.
My son is not going to bring. He's not going to bring some fat. Sorry, it ain't gonna happen.
First of all, I never brought an overweight girl home.
There you go. Yeah,
I was bed rocking with a really big booty joint once, and she was one of those with like a seriously exaggerated, like, you know, her waist was still slim, but her butt was huge, and my father caught me out with her in Sam's Club.
Okay,
and had a talk, like literally called me the same night and was like, "Get rid of her."
What are you doing? There you go.
What are you talking? He's like, "I know what you like her for. You're not gonna like her after she has 2 or 3 of your children."
Absolutely, yeah.
Because we were 21 years, and I was like, "What is he talking about?" As a 36-year-old, I know exactly what he means now because I can go to her Facebook and be like, damn, that's what he meant when he said that, because she has 2 kids and she did not do the work to stay slim in the waist. So now it's all kind of, filled out. So that's what he was talking about.
Everything always points back to the fathers being important. So now I'll say this about the interracial dating thing. Interracial dating and marriage, I don't have an issue with it. But if you're going to get married, you stay married, especially on the women's side. Men, you got a little bit of latitude, but if you're going to, do the IR thing, get married and stay married. And what happens is you do have, Black women who are going to marry outside of the race, and that's fine. No issue with that. But if they don't stay married, then it's going to be a problem for them if they're trying to, because what happens at that point is they got to get they got to go through that whole cycle again to pick up another non-Black man, or, Black men are just going to ignore them because now they got that mixed race kid. Because generally, one of the points of marriage is actually to produce children. Now you're producing mixed race kids. I don't really see, men, especially dark-skinned Black men, trying to, pick up that responsibility. It's going to look real strange. So if you're going to get married and go outside of that race, then you're going to have to stay married. Now, the other thing with that too is I look at IR dating and marriage as on the periphery. It's going to happen, but you talked about government statistics, data, observable facts, verifiable facts. Everything points to 80% of the men marry within their racial group. A little over 80%. And that's across all the racial boards, by the way. All races of men married at an 80% plus rate. Now, I'm not saying that all 80% marry. What I'm saying is when they marry, 80% plus marry within their racial group. So it's the men who determine that. It's the men who are picking the women. And I'm not saying that women don't have a choice in this, but what I'm saying is that most men want to marry the women within their group. That's across the board. Now, here's what you talked about data and facts. So, there's that whole study and the books and everything in it that kind of popped out as it relates to the book. I don't know if you're familiar with it, called The Dating Divide. It just came out a couple of years ago. Jennifer Lundquist and several of her colleagues, they noted that women across the board, they all want white men, all of them.
Yep.
Every last one, all of them. The issue is, can they get them? That's the issue. And so it's very interesting because when you guys start talking about that, what did you say? You said white men are looking for, non-Black men are looking for women who are, fit and in shape, thin, childless, young, do all of the stuff that, a wife and mother is supposed to bring. So if you're not bringing that, then not only do you not have a chance with the men in your own racial group, but you can't even cross over. You said those guys pick a very specific group, and that's true. All right, that's super high achieving, the ones who are fit and thin and in shape, the ones who are hardcore focused and who are actually going to do what they're supposed to do as a wife and mother, and they can be a CEO. That's fine, but you know what? Look at all the work that they have to do in order to get to cross over to that. Whereas if you're just a regular woman doing regular things, and you're amenable to Black men, then you can still, pick up a good Black man, consistent with your racial group, consistent with the numbers, consistent with everything that we're looking for. It's very funny because, I think it was Arpain who said, well, women don't want to compete in order to, be with their own men or be with Black men. Or you said something to that effect, right, sir? Okay, so, but if you're going to do all of that, you literally qualify for every race of man. You literally qualify to include your own race, which is the guys who's going to want you, which the guys who are going to want you and marry you the most, who's going to be the most interested. Because what do they have to fight? They have to fight the anti-Blackness. They have to fight the racism. They have to fight the fact that, when those great-grandparents, if they're still alive, but the grandparents start passing on that wealth, they're not looking to pass it to somebody who's outside of that racial group. All right. And that's one thing I do. I can say a lot of things about the white folks, and, I'm not going to say anything bad about them, but I will say I do admire that. They understand that, we're going to pass these houses, this bank account, these millions and whatever it is we got going on. We're going to pass all of this. The lake house is going to stay within the family. I do appreciate that about them. And they're very specific about it, to the point that some guys, if they're going outside of the race, they disinherit those folks. That's actually a thing. That's really a real thing with them over there. I've actually seen that happen. Well, I haven't seen it. I've followed the stories related to that. They disinherit those folks. They're like, no, you got to stay within the family.
They'll disinherit you. They do that. I know they do.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I said a lot, so I'll stop right there.
So I do have a question that's kind of pointing to that. So welcome everybody to the Trigger Mike Show. Let me get this one super chat read. Dig Big Energy. I'm never getting that wrong. I've practiced, actually. All right. We forgot how Rose McGowan, I think that's what you mean, pulled up early 2000. What do you mean by that? Did she date somebody interracially? Or?
Nah, she had some. I think she had like a see-through dress on or something in
Oh,
one of
I
the
remember.
award shows.
Now I remember. Yeah.
And now she's the queen of Me Too.
Yeah, at that time she was with like Marilyn Manson.
Marilyn Manson. I was like, yeah, she was with him. Yeah. Well, shoot, so even that what do you call it? Like goth, rock star, punk culture. A lot of the highfalutin whites be like, okay, this culture is trash. They feel the same way about it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I see it. All of this debauchery replicated in the way the more cleaner cut, law abiding, family oriented people feel. Everybody feels that way. In fact, the easiest way to say it is that every group of people, every ethnic group hates their nigga class. That's the easiest way to say it. They hate that behavior. Every ethnic group tries to divide it up that way. Like, we stand for family, whatever the religion asks for us and aligns our principles and values. They hate the people that are opposite of that.
Okay, so the degenerate class.
Degenerate class. Let me just thank you for cleaning that up, Mr. Kevin.
Yeah.
So that's why I got the OGs here.
I did have a low-level problem with something that you said. Okay, right, I'll look at it as behavior, not culture. Cultures are the actions, ideologies, beliefs, the customs and the traditions, the dances, the food, the music, and all of the history and stuff that we want to keep. And by the way, men dictate that. The productive men, not the degenerates, not the lowlifes, not the chaotic and dysfunctional men, not the criminal class, but the functional men. We dictate what the culture is. Women support to reinforce what we want to be inculcated and held as part of as a culture. So that's on. If you're a productive man and you're doing what you're supposed to do, then you have a say in that. But if you're a degenerate, then no, you don't have a say. And we need to be very loud and vocal about that. So people, I know some, because I hear this on the Lapeef Network quite a bit. It's not culture, it's behavior, because the culture is the stuff that we want to keep, the good things about it.
Absolutely. But I will say this, though. I will say the one thing the Black community in America, the Black United States community does is that we perpetuate our underclass, our degenerate class, as our popular culture. So this is why I will say there's two types. So even when you look at it, like you said, the men, that this is actually a perfect way to make this distinction. The men are in charge of the Black people. Men are in charge. The people who are family oriented. That's why when we have these conversations, I usually look around. I'm like, what men are you talking about? Because I don't know a Black man that don't take care of his kids. Right? I can show you 1,000 of them that are living home with their wives. We go on trips. We do all this stuff. We're accepted in every circle like that. But the women are in charge of the degenerate class. And they've done whatever it is they can do to perpetuate that out as our popular culture. It is in the mainstream. It's on TV. It's how we present ourselves. Every other ethnic group says, no. Do whatever it is you do in the degenerate class, but that's low-level culture. That's underground. And they put out their family, their religion, culture as their mainstream culture. We're the only ones that have it backward. What do you think about that?
Well, so, again, so we want to put the best stuff out. The issue is, what do we have control of? All right. And what are we? Look, the problem is we have people who are willing to do things in order to, get that quick money and that bag and all the other stuff versus doing that long-term development over the long haul. I'm assuming that a lot of guys on this panel are possibly in the chat because they're interested in this conversation are probably married or in good, solid relationships or something to that effect. I know we got one or two that aren't, but that being said, we understand the importance of, working through to get to a final goal. And if it takes you 4 to 5 years and you're willing to do that with a woman who's going to invest in, who's going to be a part of that investment, then that makes sense to us. Whereas I look at the folks who are trying to just get that quick money, do all that nonsense and get on without really having to do the work. Those are going to generally be your degenerates.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Yeah.
Kevin, we're upside down in a lot of areas, and culture and behavior is one of them. Right?
Okay.
I mean, if it wasn't, like I said, if it wasn't for this so-called manosphere on YouTube, for whatever it's worth, the good and the bad, I mean, Black men wouldn't even have a forum to express themselves for positivity.
That is
Can't
true.
do it on TV. They're not doing it in movies because we don't control who's behind the scenes. Tyler Perry ain't helping us, God dang it, and he could.
Oh man, he just secured. He just secured the biggest weapon.
In order to see well-to-do black men standing on their square, building families, building businesses, doing the right thing, you know, where do we see that at? Where do we hear those positive reinforcements? Not in the music. Female.
Okay, but you understand that. But you understand that those are the majority black men. There's so few. Look, I'm not saying it's not a degenerate class, but because there is bad actors, criminals, all of that stuff, the chaotic, dysfunctional men. We got that class.
Right.
We understand that those are the minority. Look, I don't care that.
Before you go on, let me say this, Kevin. Before you go on, they could be the minority, but they're a statistically significant group of people, and you don't have to be in a majority to be destructive.
I got you. Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Yeah, but I don't want to get off on too far into that because that's a whole nother topic. We're talking about IR and stuff like that.
The issue is that the degenerate younger ones, they are paying attention to social media. They don't listen to 50-year-old Gen Xers who are talking about the way it should be. They're paying attention to social media and the things they see on TV. That's what's more important to them. So what they're going to want to be going forward is not what people like are paying. What his thought process is about the way our community should go. They're going to go with the degenerate crop that we see on TV. And yes, it's the minority for now, but it won't be for much longer. It's just a matter of time as the generations continue to come. This degenerate behavior will overtake because that's what's popular and that's what influences the younger crowd.
Okay, well, they get what they get from that, but the bottom line is that what you're going to end up with two separate communities then: the chaotic and dysfunctional one, and the one that's hardworking, responsible, and productive and competent. We've got married men and women with their children, being constructive. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with being loud and proud about that.
No,
nothing wrong with that at all.
I agree. We already have those two communities.
To include if you got to exclude people because I've heard white people, right? I've heard them say, "Oh, that trailer trash over there, that's not us." I'm like, but they're white though. They're like, "No, that ain't our people." I'm like, but they're literally. I'm looking at them like they were very hardcore and adamant about it. They're like, Kevin, if you don't get them people away from me, don't you put them people in my group?
It's so prevalent. It's so prevalent, and that other ethnic groups notice it. So I told y'all I had a white friend that literally came up to me and was just like, "This is." He basically when asked the question, I forgot why he said it. He said, "I feel like black people are like a tale of two extremes." He said, literally, where he grew up kind of like trailer park trash. Just him and his mom. Mom and dad had contentious relationship. His dad would like drink beer while he was driving him to school. He had that type of like white trash type of family. And he said, the black people I know from school, because I guess he went to a very low income school. He was like, yeah, I would know them. They would be the most aggressive, the most fighting. But then he grew up to be like a mechanic. And he said, y'all are like a tale of two extremes. The most squared away, well put together, hardworking, athletic person that I know is black. Oh, he said he learned this in the Army.
Yeah.
And he said on the other end of the spectrum, he was like, I cannot reconcile the distance in those two things. He's like, I don't even think it's the same with whites. He's like, I just feel like you got black people that are literally at the time we were talking about we were both medics, the medics in the Army. And I had told him that there was a black neurosurgeon that was in my unit that was the #1 neurosurgeon in the nation. And that just made him throw his hands up. You see, it was like, that's how it always happens. Yeah. That's how it always happens.
He's like the Ben Carson example.
Exactly. So it always happens. It's like, I never can understand black people to where it's like, there you have one over here that's celebrated about to win on Obama status, and then you have the other ones over here shooting up the club. He's like, I don't get it, but it's
so
true.
The only thing I say to that is, okay, so then I asked him to tell me, okay, so how did it get that way, or what do you think that is? And so this is my only issue with non-black people when they do that, is that they're really uninformed on how things are, how and why things got that way, and why they are that way in the first place. To include a lot of them, like he said, he had a hard time separating it. Like, I don't have any issue separating, the good from the bad. I would challenge you to have the mental span and the capability to be able to do that. And if you don't, then I'm wondering about you, because I can look at the negative people in every racial group, because I can point to them. I see it every day, and they just had a Juneteenth incident. I'm sorry, an incident, one of the Juneteenth celebrations.
Yep.
Look at the responses and how that was covered, and then look at the comments at the articles associated with that versus all the other incidents that were very similar, but primarily other racial groups. And there was sympathy, empathy, compassion for all the other ones. There was laughter and jokes and taking a whole lot of shots and insults. And I'm like, oh, okay. So they're dealing with other things. They got to, and I'm not saying this about your friends, but I'm saying they have to work through their learned bias, because that's what it is, and some other things that they've been taught in order to make that separation and distinction. I can do it very easily. All right. And I haven't tested, so I don't know if I'm a genius or not, but I'm just saying, I'm questioning you, even people who I know pretty well. And let me be clear. I deal with not a lot of people. I deal with other racial groups, and I deal with them individually. So I'm expecting you to be able to make that distinction and be able to speak intelligently about that versus, looking at the extremes and going, I can't process it. Why can't you process it? What's going on with you? I kind of put it back on other people. Because it forces them to actually do the work. Because if I can do it for all of your racial groups, I can do it. If I can, separate the good Asians from the bad Asians, then I need you to be able to do that for the good Black people from the negative Black people, because there's actually more positive, functional, productive Black people than there are negative. Those people are in the minority, and despite the fact that they're the loudest, despite the fact that they're loud, I get all of that, but I'm still expecting you to, do some internal work. Yeah, and we got to put that on people. We got to, the productive people got to start putting that on other people, because I challenge folks with that. But I don't want to get too far off on the IR thing, because I know you got some talking points as it relates to that. But go ahead,
Absolutely. Sir. All right. I don't know. I think I want to ask these questions out of order. All right. So, Payne, we're going to come to you first. Should a person that is against interracial dating be considered a racist?
Oh, no.
Why?
No, because, I wouldn't call them a racist. I mean, it's a cultural and maybe religious preference. People have preferences. They can do. It's what they do about it that matters. It's how they treat, a daughter or a sibling or a parent or whoever who wants to go out of race. How do they respond to that person afterwards? Then they can get into that area. But just wanting your preference to be, if I'm Black, you marry Black, I don't think it's racist at all. I just think it's one of those normal kind of things that most people still are that way. Most people have preferences, and I think that's a preference. So I wouldn't call anybody racist just because of that.
All right. Trey, what do you think? Should a person that is against interracial dating be considered a racist?
Yeah, if there's some energy behind it. if they're doing something about it, yeah, you're a racist. If you're gonna, if a vote came down to disband, interracial marriages and you voted against it, yeah, I would consider you a racist. If you are, purposely not letting, a Black woman get a job because she's married to a white man, or a Black man get a job because he's married to a white woman, or if there's energy behind it, then yes, I would consider you a racist. But if you're just someone who says, listen, I'm not for it, it's not my thing, but whatever it is, what it is, I wouldn't necessarily consider you a racist.
That's a good word, energy. That's a good one, energy behind it. Yeah.
Yep. All right, Mr. Kevin, what you got?
Yeah, I was actually going to say something similar to what Trey was talking about. But yeah, so look, here's the deal. I think it was it was the late great Mr. Stokely Carmichael Kwame Ture, right? He said, look, if you don't like me, that's your problem. But if you don't like me and you can do something to harm me because you don't like me, well, now that's my problem and I got to deal with that. So you're right. He's right. It's the energy behind it. And, can that person, stop you from just living your best life? Because and that's the other thing too. I don't mind like a natural organic, and I'm gonna tell you, I've seen this too. I don't mind a natural organic, naturally occurring IR relationship. you can almost, it's like you can almost look at the relationship and tell the difference versus somebody who's forcing it and racial showcasing and really trying to do a whole lot. We see the difference, by the way, when y'all do that. For the ones who are doing that, we see the difference. All right. So yeah.
All right. What up, Prototype?
What's good, homie?
What's going on?
I was like, you got on your
you got the voice changer on?
I was like,
you got the voice changer on?
You know?
Nah, that was my son is all crazy.
yeah, damn.
Yeah, no, but no, should a person against interracial dating be considered a racist?
Yeah.
No, I'm definitely one of those people that's against interracial dating. For me, it just doesn't help the community, so that's why I'm geared towards it. I consider myself pro-black, so, but I'm not racist though. I just don't like us with them and them with us.
All right. Yeah, he dropped off. But let me get my spiel on this. So as somebody who's, parents and other stuff are from different cultures, I think I've put together the words for and what I've observed from Middle Easterns, Asians, and all of this. I don't think a person that is against it is necessarily racist. I think Trey did do the right thing by saying the word energy and how the energy is behind it, because I think most people don't mean anything against the other person or the person that you're trying to date. What it is their preservation of culture is extremely important to them. And the reason I'm going to use, like, let's say the Middle Eastern people is because I have they built a colony in this neighborhood. We went to the pool again yesterday, and I still don't know how they got an entire section of over 300 homes in a master plan community to themselves. I do not know how they did that, but they make sure that their people marry their people for that reason. So they can help. So these people understand that you are not just passing down, you're not just marrying somebody, you're passing down values, principles, culture, religion, understanding, belief, everything. And I think the reason they're able to stay so airtight and continue their dominance on the wealth front is because they don't allow people to infiltrate their culture. I mean, when you look at it just from a systemic ideological view, you can't really go against it. It's like, damn, look at the efficiency of them just like, and when I say it's such a healthy thing too, because those cultural norms, they're more represented on the STEM front. So when I go grab my kids from the Spanish school, I'll take them to the park over there on their side of the community. The grandmas, it's either like both the maternal and the paternal grandma lives with them. If the dad passed, they're walking or pushing the kids on the swing. So it's like the kids know their whole family. They're wrapped around like love. And then another one is saying, I'm going to go home and start cooking while the wife and the dad are talking and holding hands and walking. I'm like, this situation just seems so healthy. And it's because they passed that culture along. So I can absolutely see if it's not, necessarily racist in nature, or I just don't like you. No. I think that preservation of culture thing is the biggest reason why some of those immigrant ethnic groups don't want their children, interracially dating. Because I can see that with my own eyes out here every day. Oh,
you did say one word that was the key, though. You said marriage. So there you go. That sums it all up right there. Marriage. That's the basic building block for any community. So that's how you get that air. When everybody's doing it, that's how you keep that airtight seal. Very few infiltrators, and even if you did make it in, how many obstacles and hurdles you got to get past? How many cheetah flips you got to do in order to even get in? Just to get the invite. Like you're already on the outskirts. You ain't even coming in. So what do you got to do in order to get in? How many obstacles do you have to overcome just to, again, at the base level of that is marriage. So there you go.
Hey, Trigger, when I was getting ready to go to boot camp, my grandmother pulled me to the side and she said, "You're gonna meet a lot of women while you're in the military."
Yeah.
And she said, "If she can't use your comb, don't bring her home."
Don't bring her home.
And I was like, "What?" That was the first time I was like, "What?" And I looked at my grandmother completely different from that day on. Like, oh wow, you really don't play this interracial dating game. Then I started to hear these stories about how my uncles would bring white women to the cookouts, and my grandmother was not having it. Like, they gotta go, they need to leave, or we shutting this shit down. Like,
Oh, damn.
She was not playing. Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. I mean, not only was, but it was if she was going to say it at any point, that was the time to say it, because I told you, I do not want to hear. I keep saying this. I don't want to hear about black men and any other type of woman if y'all aren't going to address white men and their love for Asian women. Them boys,
they love them some Asians.
Boy, they love them some Asians. Boy, they love them some Asians.
And vice versa. Them Asian women love them white men.
They do.
They love them.
Facts.
They do.
Like it's actually quite a thing that, as we might like not look at Caucasian people as attractive. You know, I think all black people think we're like the most beautiful, even if we don't like our attitudes or whatever.
Yeah.
Other cultures love white men.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like Latino, like they're like, I like a white man, the way he looks, the smells. We be like, man, white people don't smell right. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Prototype. How much of that do you think is attributed to maybe some low level brainwashing, maybe the wealth? Like, how much of that do you think is attributed to that?
A great deal of it is.
Probably all of it. Probably all of it, right? And then they come over here like, don't mess with those African American dudes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or like we're like, I don't know, I can't find the words, but we're the ones that they don't want to integrate with when they come over here. You know what I'm saying? I think the whole world looks at white as superior.
Well,
yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was gonna say it is like literally almost 100% brainwashing, because you have to think that we just got to say white people are actually masterful at doing one thing. They have protected and projected their image all over the world in a certain way. This goes back to them colonizing areas. Remember, they didn't come out with rifles, they came out with gifts. That's how they got you to let them come on their land. They came out with trinkets and toys to give to the kids. So, you've seen these people in this nice attire thinking that they were here to save you and help you. And they've done that masterfully over centuries to give you this image that we create. And when you think of America and everything that you hear, you think the white man did it. You have no idea who helped him build it. You have no idea who he exploited. But they think that's the reason why everybody, even some Africans, are like, well, the white man is just the greatest thing since sliced bread,
Mike, because they've had the whole world on their knees praying to a white God on a cross.
Yeah.
That's the biggest symbol of their power that's ever been perpetrated on mankind. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So you sit down there, you're looking at this white guy, he's God, and no matter how high you go, you still have to worship this dude. The power of that is always underestimated. I think I'm like the only person who ever says, because everybody's scared to really say it. That's the biggest grift that man in the history of mankind.
Yeah,
I can't believe that though. That everybody think that Christ is white, and like that's just not. That's simply not true.
That's so crazy to me, because I actually get why the people from the areas where Jesus is actually from are so hostile against the United States, because they are like, dog, you perverted religion, not even just their religion, and coming over there trying to tell them what to do with your democracy. You perverted religion because that dude from here, he don't look like you. They're like, Jesus is from here. I know what he's supposed to look like. He don't look like you. You know what I mean? So I see why they're so hostile against the United States, because they take that stuff very personally. But what up, Dame? Sorry about that. Let's get you in here. What are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, what's up? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we got you.
Because my internet was jacking up for me. I apologize. Yeah, this is definitely a conversation I've had a couple of times, because I myself am in an interracial relationship. So there's all kinds of stigmas and stuff I've had to like fight in these streets. But yeah, what you're saying is absolutely true. It's just like, I remember, we can take it back to even like, I remember there was a show called The Good Times back in the day. And it was the scene when JJ Rowe painted a black Jesus. In Florida, the mother was so diehard in her religion that she could not fathom that Jesus was not white. And it was like the whole show was based on her trying to convince her family not to show any kind of reverence for a Jesus that wasn't white. So, and I think that is something that's a strong message that's been put out to Black people in that time, because Black people heard that and was like, yep, right along with that. Everything we've been taught, everything we've been put in front of us, everything we've based our existence on has been X. So anything that goes against that goes against our existence. So we gotta rebel against it. We gotta push back against it, like hard.
That's a scripted show.
No, but I mean, but that was based on the sentiment of Black people at the time, and some still today. It was like,
so you don't think a scripted show?
That's a scripted show. Like, I mean, I've been in church all my life, and nobody and nobody's ever said Jesus is white to me. Like, you know, like we read the Bible. I read the Bible with my grandma, and she's like, you know, that's us in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the sentiment that Jesus is white and all that, like, I don't think Black people ever adopted that. Like, I don't. It's just not my anecdotal experience.
I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it an AC. How old are you, brother?
I'm 40.
Yeah, I'm 48 too. So you right there with us. But yeah, my mom's from Mississippi. So believe me, every time you went into any church, there was a Jesus that had blue eyes on the wall of somebody's house. There was nobody of any type of Middle Eastern, Arabic, Israeli, Black, of anything other than a white Jesus with almost blonde hair and blue eyes on their walls. That is a fact. You know,
I can't. That might be your anecdotal experience, but it's not mine. I mean, I just don't see Black people adopting the idea that Jesus is white. I don't see it. I've never seen it.
I have to agree with Dane.
So let me actually, because I think you're making an important point. I don't think they had to actually adopt it if it's been represented to them their whole life. I think that's what it is, because I can distinctly remember Black churches with the white Jesus fake, like the face, the mural or whatever was painted. So it was something that you never even had to talk about, but it's something that really weirded people out, like as a representation throughout their life.
Well, Black people didn't even own those buildings. You got to think about it. Like,
and then
you know what?
And then we can fans that my grandmother used to wave in that hot ass church. That was a white Jesus on them fans. Now they never said he was white, but the picture looked like a white man.
So why is what people are saying not more important than the depictions that's being shown? Because evidently we know a cartoon's a cartoon. You know what I'm saying? We're like, that's just a cartoon. It's the same idea. Like, that's just a cartoon. Ain't nobody paying attention to that.
You're not on your knees in front of a cartoon.
You gotta understand that when it's a cartoon, it still sends a message. This message is being sent out all the time.
You're not on your knees hoping that this a cartoon is going to bless you with some kind of bless you in some kind of way.
So we're getting away from the
Boondocks was not animated to me. That was real life.
We're getting away from the topic a little bit, but on this, but since you guys are talking about it, don't you think people are actually making a concerted effort to get away from that idea that somehow their God does whatever deity they worship does not look like them?
Yeah,
because that's more concerted effort.
There's more education out there now. There's more access now. It was limited. It was only access to what anything based back in the day. Your religious belief and was based on your family. Your family was your guide to any type of religious understanding. It wasn't, I can go online and read stuff and see, I know where part of the world Jerusalem is and what the people in Jerusalem look like. And, you got a better understanding because you have more access now.
And then you guys know in Europe, the Black Madonnas and, the Jesus-like figures and all that other stuff. So there was a transition, I don't want to get into too much of the history of it, but you had the Council of Nicaea, where certain canons were decided, and that was one of the things that was decided, along with what's God going to look like, the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and all the other stuff. All of that stuff being said, I'm just saying today, and then you not only that, you have people doing the spiritual thing versus the actual religion. That's another thing that's going on as well. I would just say right now today, more people are getting away from some deity that doesn't look like them, or they're trying to make it a nameless, faceless, genderless, entity.
That person of unknown origin.
Yeah. which, you know, and if you know something about, and you know, I think Trigger Mike can speak to this a little bit. You're of African or West African, you know, origin, something, right? Yes. So there's something as it relates to that when you talk about African spiritualism, nameless, genderless, and you know, not all of it, but some of it to that respect, right?
Yes.
Okay, so there you go. Yeah, you know, some of the stuff that I've read. But at any rate, I'm actually interested in what women have to say about this topic, and the reason is that
we don't care what they gotta say.
Well, because look, so everybody knows about Jalen. Most of you guys football fans.
Yeah.
So we know Jalen. So I'm not an Eagles fan, but I like Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is doing his thing, right? He just signed a multi-million-dollar contract, doing some great and amazing things. He's got a black agent. He elevates black women, all this other stuff, everything else, yada yada yada. I looked at it. So Essence magazines have kind of got away from the stuff that I wanted to see, but every now and then they do something that's pretty good that I like. I actually bought the magazine. I looked at the article, and they were making a big deal about the fact that and his girl is black. She's a black woman, very intelligent, you know, highly educated. They were dating while he was in Alabama before he transferred to OU. So and he's stuck with her, and he's probably I expect or suspect that he's probably going to marry her since, you know, he's kind of been with her from the beginning. He's kind of been with her from the beginning. That being said, they made a big deal about the fact that he's with a black woman. I noticed that within the article. It's like, okay, look, so what I'm saying is that it's okay for black women to do it, but if a black man does it, hey, that's a problem. And understand that, and remember the numbers that I gave you. Most black men, when they marry, they're going to marry a black woman. They're going to date, marry, and produce kids with a black woman. But so the focus is on the 15% or so that don't versus the 80%, 85% plus who actually do when they get married.
But
they're making a real big deal about the fact that Jalen Hurts with a black woman, because how would that go if he was with a non-black woman? You know, a la Jonathan Majors, right?
The focus is because they're the ones with the money. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
And that's the focus, right? And they're tired of the ones that actually have the resources going elsewhere. It's not necessarily just about the black men. It's about the ones with the resources are choosing other arenas, and
it's a number.
The reason why they're choosing other arenas too. And I'm not saying it's a knock on black women. It's just like that's what they're around, and that's who's available, and that's who's nice. It's proximity, right? Like he went to OU. He went to Alabama. Look at the black. You know, the only black people there are going to be the athletes. You know, it's full of them.
There are a few black academic women. Yeah.
We also got to remember too. So let's give it up, because there's something we don't talk about in this streets, because Payne said it. He said, for some reason, a lot of black women don't think they have to compete for men. In a way, they're not as competitive. If you even remember college, like I went to Norfolk State University, which is very close to Old Dominion University. And I spent a lot of time on Old Dominion University's campus. White girls are aggressive. They will literally be like, I like you. What party you going to tonight? Your frat is so cool. Oh my God, when you guys do those little dances, like that, black girls don't do that. They don't do that. Like literally, I'm trying to walk by. Right, I'm gonna be at this party this time. You can come jump on it tonight. Like God. So it's like you have to give it up. Some women are professional man pleasers, and they will get in front of any man they want to make sure he doesn't have the time or the energy. They will drain him to make sure that he don't got the energy to deal with the woman of his race. Like, so there are some women who just know how to do that better. And they're usually not black. That's why I say usually a dude he's not like, I'm never dating black women. No, he's distracted by all of those other groups of women before he could get to his black woman. I'm telling you.
I would say this. That I was married to a black woman for like 8 years, and we split up. Right, I was by myself, got myself together. 3 years later, I decided to start dating, and I was at this one venue. You know, it was me, and it was 6 other black women there, and this tall white girl comes in. And she sits down next to me. She says, "Hey, what's going on here?" And I just happened to explain to her, what this thing was all about. And we just started talking, right? It was a different conversation from what I was used to. It was very, open, and it was very genuine. And I said, hey, like, you know what? The Yankees is playing tonight. You know, why don't we go over here to the Red Bamboo and watch the Yankees game? And she was like, yeah. And as I went back to the group, the host of the party, she was like, hey, Kasim, Regina needs a ride home. You know, y'all live close together. Do you mind giving her a ride home? Now, Regina wasn't giving me any kind of time of day during the whole interaction, right? But then once she saw me talking, to the white girl, then all of a sudden she got real aggressive. So, the white girl leaves and I run after her and I was like, hey, where you going? She was like, listen, I see you were involved, talking with somebody else. I said, no, I told you I was going to, take you out and go to the Yankees game. So we went to the restaurant. We were there for 3 hours and we were there until the restaurant closes. And she says, you know what's nice about you, Kasim? You have more depth than I thought. I thought you were all like Gucci'd and labeled out, but she says, as I'm talking to you, you have more depth. So we exchange numbers. I get in my car, I go back to Jersey. She goes back to Manhattan. And 2 days later, she calls and she says, hey, I really like the conversation that we had. I was wondering if you're interested in having lunch on Wednesday, on Sunday. And I was like, yes. So we had lunch on that Sunday, and then we were together like ever since for the past like 12 years, right? She had gone back on to Germany. And then I met another woman, another white woman at another venue who was really nice. And we started dating. So I just come from like a different background. The majority of the individuals on my grandmother's side, they're from South Carolina, from Yamasee, South Carolina. We got land out there, right? So the women's side on my family were very light. And they had no issues with interracial dating. They had no issues with white women, and it was kind of welcomed into the family if you happen to bring one. My uncle, who was in the Air Force, he had married an Asian woman. They didn't have any problems, with that. Another uncle married someone, from Eastern Europe. So in my particular family, we didn't have an issue with that. And it wasn't necessarily that their skin color. It was just the way that they were treated. It was just the character involved in that.
I think it's only considered interracial dating when it's black and white. Black and Asian, that don't count. Black and Latino, I don't think it counts.
As far as man and woman, like the black man with the white woman,
I think period. It's only interracial. Like that's the only time it offends me. I'll say that. It's when it's black and white. You know what I'm saying? When it's black and Asian, I don't care. When it's black and Latino, I don't care. It can be black and anything else. It just can't be white.
No offense,
Go ahead.
Why does it
only
offend
you?
I think there's a lot of black people probably that have that same
sentiment. What's offensive about it?
No, I can tell you what it is about it. It's two complete extreme opposites that are commingling in an environment where that really isn't made to happen. If you think about even the laws that we live under, it was for segregation. It was to prevent interracial dating from happening. Separate schools, separate businesses, separate everything. Everything was supposed to be segregated, and throughout history of our two races, the interracial dating is something that is not supposed to be happening in the first place, not on either tribe. But the fact that it does present a whole new dynamic that a lot of people in the general population really isn't ready for. You have to wait generations in order to not have an ick from seeing it.
So without all of that, would it be a problem? So without everything you just explained, would it be a problem then? With everything you just explained, would it be a problem?
You would be killed. You'd be killed.
Yeah, well,
Wait. You would be killed. It was serious back then. Very
I get all
serious.
of that. What I'm saying though, if you remove all of that, the negativity and all of the laws of miscegenation and everything associated with it, and the forced segregation, which was it started off de facto, then it becomes de jure segregation, right? If you remove all of that, now what are your thoughts?
It won't be a problem at all.
Well, wait. It's always.
But you have to remove all that history.
Yeah, but it's always considered forbidden fruit. It's always considered that way.
Without the history, and that is the crux of it. Without the history, the negativity behind it, then it wouldn't be a problem.
Right.
So because of all of that, that's probably why you guys feel that way.
But even generations later, post the laws changing, there's still the feeling. Yeah, the
because
people are long
so-
dead. The people who made the laws are long dead, but the feeling of the ick when you see black and white walking down the street is still there.
because
So
you have the
is it the-
residual
so is
second
it-
and third
so
order
is it the
effects from
betrayal?
previous
Yeah.
history.
Is it betrayal that's offensive?
Say that. Say one more time.
Is it betrayal that's offensive?
Some people feel that way. It is a racial betrayal to go outside of your race and date another race, especially when you feel that that race is inferior to your own.
Correct. He's
Or
right.
who's the inferior one? Or you just feel that way?
It's always been under white supremacy. We've never lived under some black supremacy rule that has white people at the bottom and black people up top. It's always been the inverse. So the race
Correct.
mixing is supposed to be a symbol of two completely different class structures that are not supposed to commingle because they're not equal.
Gotcha.
Correct. He's right.
Okay, so-
He's absolutely right.
Okay, so we understand.
So-
So we know who we're not putting that on black people because we didn't make that. So
No.
We
Yeah.
No,
know
But
where it
that's,
belongs, right?
but that's
I
the
have-
stigma.
I
That's
have
the
a
stigma
question.
that
Okay.
still exists even 2023. Still exists.
Yes.
Okay, so let me speak to the. Let me speak to the.
Hang on, I got a question.
Go ahead.
If the white slave master slept with, say, my great grandmother, and the bloodline was tainted at that
Right.
point, right? And I'm no longer full African or full whatever, right? And there is a Caucasian amount of blood in my bloodline. How am I still betraying my race, even though I'm not fully sub-Saharan African?
Listen,
Like the white man. Wait. The white
Like if you,
man
like,
having.
hold
Well,
on.
I know what you're saying. Betraying. It's not a betrayal.
I just want to add this. Like
It's
my
not a betrayal.
My mother is light skinned, and my grandmother can pass for a white woman.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if I date a white woman, am I betraying my
Not
race?
betraying
You're
nobody.
natural.
No, you're not.
Yeah, you're not betraying anybody. But
No.
let me just say this. About how a white man having sex with a black woman is not a betrayal. It is him conquering. It is the spoils of conquering another race. When it becomes black men dating white women, that's what it's seen. It's seen as a man conquering another race. That is why there is such a stigma, and that it shouldn't happen, and that there was laws and grave punishment for even such a thing being instigated.
That's 50 years
Yeah,
ago.
he's right. He's right.
It's ignorant now. It was ignorant.
That's 50 years
We all
ago.
agreed it was ignorant when we weren't benefiting from it in any way. But now, for some reason, we can't understand that it's ignorant today. There is no conquering of each other when you decide to be with somebody. Y'all are being extreme as fuck for no reason. Let's
you
say
are a
y'all.
woman.
Don't say y'all.
You don't understand. You don't understand conquering.
Let it talk.
let's
You don't
let it
understand
finish,
it.
gentlemen.
Let it talk.
Okay,
Let
so
it talk.
what
Let's
were
be
you
clear.
gonna say?
Don't
Go
say
ahead.
y'all. Just say the guy who said it.
Let's give me a chance.
Okay, let it talk.
So, like I was saying, these things were ignorant then and they're ignorant now. It doesn't matter what your skin color is. It's all about dating within your norm, your class. And at the end of the day, like we state over and over, majority Black people are not in the upper middle class. They're not in the middle class area. So when you get to that area, you're not going to be seeing a sea of chocolate. You're just not. When I went to FAMU, that's where I saw a sea of chocolate. Everywhere else I've lived my whole life, and I've moved a lot of different states, it's always been mixed. So it doesn't make any sense for us to pretend that you have to go all out of your way to find this white man that's going to accept you when you all grow up with the same culture, because you're literally in the same neighborhoods, doing the same things. It's bound to happen. So like Mr. Payne was saying, this is just inevitable. As you continue to mix the cultures, there's going to be a lot more interracial dating. It's not going to be a big deal. My brother has been married to a white woman for a while. They have a nice little baby now that is mixed. And I have a white man. I dated a Black man before. I was married to a Black man before. Most of my previous exes were Black. However, now that I'm in this area, I met this man. We connected instantly, and we've been connected ever since. So it's like we can pretend that there's some conquering big deal, or we can understand that we're in the same neighborhood. We're meeting the people that we're around. We're connecting the people that actually like our personalities, and we're getting together normally.
Is that
Okay, I say
okay, go ahead, go
I
ahead.
get it. I second that. He's right. I second that.
to that, I do say
I don't second that at all.
I do say you severely missed the point of everything I just said with that, because it's because you're comparing a personal anecdote to your personal experience in reference to something that a system that was built to keep us segregated for reasons not yours or mine, but to somebody else's extent. And it was such a big deal. They made sure that we lived completely apart from another person, you know, for generations. We had to go through different movements in order to live in said same neighborhood and to go to said same schools. There was a struggle to even get there. So yes, it's that important. It is that important to these people.
Yeah, but that wasn't my.
She from the islands though. She don't share the same struggle.
I grew up going to school.
That was then, and this is now.
That's not my reality.
No. But to her point, if race wasn't a big deal, we wouldn't have had the struggle so far. We wouldn't have had all these bills and all these rights over all these years. If it wasn't such a big deal and everyone's the same. No, that is not how other people see us or see these things at all. And they have groups, they have organizations, they have movements, they have money, they have entire think tanks that say our race is dying out and we need to do something about it. It is a big deal.
Those people are ignorant to let them continue to die out.
No, I'm not
talking about the majority every day.
But I'm not talking about black people. I'm talking about white people. White people are afraid of dying out
every day.
Right.
There's a lot more white people interracial dating.
Right.
Guys, you got to do point counterpoint because we can't hear.
What is wrong with you trying to see that the times have changed? Why are you trying to pretend that we're still believing the same shit that
and racism and it's still here?
We do not.
All of the ick is still here. When black men walk with white women down the street, there is still a problem somewhere.
It's not still here. It's there. Still, just stop projecting this. The ick is still there for you.
It's not there for me. Okay. Let's not make it personal. I'm not making it personal. I'm not making it personal. We're talking about the general public.
When I walk down the street by myself, I get compliments.
If you go to a certain section,
there's two guys who didn't go yet.
Go ahead.
There's a couple of people who haven't gone yet. John the Baptist.
Who hasn't? John the Baptist. So we'll go around then. Go ahead, sir. What was your response?
So to say, okay, so we can talk about interracial dating and the things, how times have changed and times have changed. But what we can't do is think that America's changed completely all across the globe, all across the country. There are certain parts of Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. If you go deep enough, you'll still see, and maybe other parts of the country too, you'll still see big pockets of racism and hate where interracial couples are, I would say, for lack of better words, persecuted for interracial dating. So just because it may be better in your area that you live in, visit small pockets of South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina, other areas, and maybe Alabama too, to where racism is still alive and kicking. Now it is getting better, but we can't turn a blind eye and say it's completely gone because it's not.
And I can second that. I remember when I was in the military, I was stationed at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and I was seeing this little German girl, and she used to sell jewelry. And she used to sell it in a little town in Tennessee. And I remember driving my car to the flea market to take her. I was driving through Crossville, Tennessee, and it was a sundown town. And I remember seeing this sign saying, if you're black and you're in this town before sundown, you better get out. And I remember driving her to this flea market and help her set up the flea market stand. And while I was there, she wasn't getting no customers. And then I went to go get lunch. And I came back and she told me, she was like, listen, Kasim, she was like, I think maybe you should like go somewhere and then come back like at the end of the day. So I left and I drove around a little bit and I came back at the end of the day and she made $1,000, right? And she got back to the car and she was like, you know what? This one guy gave me $1,000 and he told me for you not to come back anymore because you are a detriment to the business. You are making people afraid. And he said that this $1,000 was basically for you to stay away and me come back to work by myself. So there are towns like that,
I don't think nobody's
hang on, let me get a word. Let me get a word on the subject real quick, and then we can go.
Also, too, I know specifically areas where there are still separated proms by race. I mean, I won't call the counties out.
Hang on, let me get a word real quick on this subject real quick, and then we can go back and chop it up. Yeah, you there?
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, go ahead. What's your thought?
Well, I would just say that it really just depends on which part of the region you grew up in. Me, I am from California, and we have a very mixed population, just like New York. So we have a very big melting pot. So um, over up in the north, Northern California, like the Bay Area, it is very extremely common to see brothers with snow bunnies or white girls, as you guys will call them. So as far as it being the norm, it's been the norm since God knows when up here in California. Um, and as far as me growing up with them, their parents really never had a problem with it like that. But of course, they see skin color, but they looked at us blacks as, the cool kids that my daughters and sons get to hang around with. So that's just my personal experience growing up. But if I can make a generalization in general, I would say just throughout California, interracial dating in general is highly normal. Now, I know you guys will bring up racism, but that's neither here or there. But just when it comes to interracial dating, it is very normal. But I will tell you this though, when I do see a sister with, a white boy, I'm just brainwashed to think, okay, she's just trying to level up. She's trying to, move up on the scale. But that's just me though. I have been brainwashed how I grew up, so I hold myself accountable for that. Um, so yeah, I don't know.
So here's one issue I do have. This and I've noticed this. Look, if you're gonna if the idea is perceived status, and you're gonna go out and you're actually trying to get it to somebody who's non-black based on perceived status that he may or may not bring, then actually do that. Because it doesn't make sense to cross over and deal with all of the possible anti-blackness, the racism, and everything else, and then get some low-level knucklehead. You could do that with a black pookie. So if you're going to elevate, then actually elevate. And I did have a question for Miss Island Girl. So you said something economically speaking. You said something that I think you were wrong, but I want to go ahead and hear what you said. You said something about economics. What you said something in your statement.
No.
Can you say that again?
I didn't say anything about economics in my statement.
Okay, I thought you said something.
She mentioned classes. She mentioned classes. I think that's what you.
Yeah, I want to touch on that
Okay,
also.
what was your statement? Because I want to kind of unpack
People
that real
normally
quick.
live and die within their class system, which means they date within their class system. So
I disagree.
She said that a lot of blacks ain't in the middle class, but that's not true either. A lot of us.
Yeah, because I want to correct that. Because a lot of black men are in the middle class, and then you have when you add the wealthy and the rich black man, you're like at least over. I think it's like 64% when you add all that together, both the rich ones and.
But there's a black middle and a white middle. We all know this, right?
And the reason I'm asking that is because I hear that quite a bit, and I'm like, what are you guys talking about when you say that? Is it class, economics, or what are you talking about? So I just wanted to kind of unpack that and make that correction.
It's based on dollar value.
Okay, that's fine. But you got let's just put it at about 64% because that's really what it is. About 64% black men, middle class or solid middle class or better. All right, when you add the rich and the wealthy ones. So now you got at least 64% of black men that are going to be that are middle class. Like that's on paper. Like that's legit hardcore right now. Those are the numbers. And then I call them ghost men, the guys who are in trade school or in college. Those guys are future middle class. So now you're pushing 70%. So when I hear women say, well, black men are not economically sound or feasible, all this other stuff and everything else, I'm like, if that's a reason that you're using, it's not a valid reason.
Yeah,
I just want to say
I don't think she said, I didn't hear none of that come from her.
But she mentioned class, so I'm relating it to that because that's what I hear that quite a bit.
Let me, I don't want to speak for other girls. You tell me it's right. Like my brother, we grew up, and shout out to BA, you from Northern California, from the Bay. Yee! I just got to say that to you from the Bay.
Yeah, right, man.
You know what I mean? So
I'm speaking this dialectical language.
It's just one of those things where it's like he grew up in the Bay. He was born in the Bay, grew up in the Bay. He didn't go nowhere else.
You already know.
All the girls that he was deal with was from the Bay. That's where my one brother. We had different dads. His dad was Hispanic, so he went and he traveled all over that. So he ended up with a Hispanic girl because that's who he is. He was Puerto Rican, so he went. And he spoke Spanish, danced salsa. So the women that he was associated with was in wherever he was, and and that's just the kind of way it is. It's like if you don't go anywhere and you just stay where you at, you may get what's right in front of you. You won't see what else is out there. I think that is that what you're trying to say, Island Girl? As opposed to expanding your horizons, as opposed to
That's exactly
stance.
what I'm saying.
I don't think it had nothing to do with saying men aren't economically sound.
Every time I have moved, it has been
No. That's a talking point. The whole economic reason.
One time
And by the way, that comes from the American Enterprise Institute and the Department of Labor. Just so you guys can look that up for yourself. Don't listen to me.
Yeah, you gotta let her finish though.
All right. In fact, Fantasy, I got a question for you, but let me get these super chat. I want you to go first, rather. All right, Marcus Evans, $5 says Fantasy Island Girl is here to defend her zaddy. Advanced Perception, $5. There's a movie called Diary of a Tired Black Man that covers this very subject. The dude is African and explains why he married a white woman. Is this a real movie?
Yes, I saw it. It was on. It was a Showtime thing.
It's got to be on Tubi.
Maybe, but yeah, I saw it. I
didn't hear about this one.
No, I got to go watch that. Marcus Evans again. She loves Zaddy so much. Y'all give them so much hate for this. Street Intellect, $20. Appreciate that. I don't have a problem with interracial dating, but I do think we can't afford it as a people. We don't have our own communities, high broken households, and we're 12% of the population. We develop and grow first. I think a lot of people share that sentiment. And just like I said, everybody has a reason why they're doing it. I think that's Black people's reason right now. From a rebuilding standpoint, they'd be like, look, we can't afford it. From the other people, it's like, look, our cultures and values are very important to us. Our native clothing and all of that is very important to us. So we want to do it. But I do think a lot of Black people share that sentiment currently, where it's like,
right now it's Fashion Nova and Shein. We're all wearing the same shit. You're being ridiculous. Stop.
Yeah, we know you're washed already.
Hold on. Fantasy. The one thing I do agree with Dr. Umar Johnson on is like when, and now I understand why Black women get so mad. I'm not gonna lie. When a well put together management corporate level Black dude like literally just disregards all Black women, you are literally taking our best and brightest and just giving it away. So
we can't do that. We can't do
like
that. We can't do that. We can't do that.
I used to just be like, oh, people can date who they date.
No,
but then
come on,
that's the
Trigger
type of
Mike.
dude I am. So then I go
Come on,
to
Trigger Mike.
corporate
Come on,
functions.
Trigger
I'm
Mike.
like,
He making
I'll
sense.
bring my
No,
I'll bring
he's
my
not.
Black wife, and I'm like, damn, y'all really don't. I look at the other Black dudes like, y'all really don't fuck with Black women. God, this is crazy.
Is
that? Do you know why?
Do
you know why?
Hold on.
Do you know why?
Hold on.
The white one.
A man,
I can tell you.
We
If you
can't.
want to know why? I'll tell you.
Go ahead.
No. Go ahead and finish. I'm just after you go. I'll tell you why after you're finished. Go ahead, John.
I hate this argument because what we're doing is we're telling a man what he can and cannot do. A man who has fought for everything that he's earned. So he has, because he's fought for everything that he earned, he has the right to pick how he wants to pick. So if he decides to go to any other culture he wants to go to, that's his God-given right as a man. Because every right that he's earned, every right that it wasn't just give it to him, he fought for it. So therefore,
if he wants a snow bunny, goddamn it!
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why he overlooks Black women that successful Black men. I'll tell you why.
We don't disagree, John. We actually don't disagree. I'm saying I understand why other people are up in arms about it simply from an economic standpoint.
If we're talking about
hold on. I also have a topic coming up where it's like, who would you date if you weren't with somebody in your race? And I have a good reason, something to say to that too. Or a good
Can I interject really quick before you jump on that?
Trigger though is so he has the right, even though no matter what the economic status is, what the condition of the Black race is, you can't save that race. You can't save. You're not picking a wife to save a culture. You're picking a wife. You're picking a woman or a wife to build a legacy with. So although I married a Black woman, I can't make a man pick a woman or down that man. So no matter what Dr. Umar Johnson says, it's baloney. It's baloney.
I think I'm indifferent now, bro. I'm indifferent a little bit. Because if other people are marrying within their race strictly to save their culture and values, principles, and aesthetics, then and not only that, they're doing it masterfully to the point where They build their own economy, their own households, their own sections in communities,
Which
which is a part of their own.
years old, man. Those cultures are unbroken for thousands of years.
They still have a connection to those cultures.
You shouldn't have said Umar said that, Trigger.
What women have to do then is they have to make themselves a valuable option for that black man.
There you go.
And how they do that, and how they do that, and the difference is
you just lost the attention of every black woman in the chat. I just want you to know that.
But
in
this scenario where there's this successful black lawyer, corporate lawyer who's made it all the way to the top, who's busted his ass and who overlooks black women. The reason he will do that, or any other man would do that, black men will do that of stature, is because in any argument with a black woman, she can find ways to shit on all of his accomplishments and still call him nothing. In any argument at any time during in any relationship, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how successful you are, even president of the United States, a black woman somewhere can shit on that black man in a relationship during any argument at any time. Versus any other culture that you would date, any other culture you would date, long-term relationship with that successful status wouldn't dare do that. That is not the norm, and that is not how they roll.
Okay, so I don't believe that, EBD. Like,
believe it. Fine. Wait. Let me ask you a question. No matter how successful a black man is there a black woman willing to disrespect him?
Okay, I need to change everything I just said, Coach Tracy.
Hold on. It is a serious question. When we're talking about interracial dating and preferences and why this and not that.
Hold on, y'all.
That's any race.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, intervene really quick.
Hold on. I do have. So EBD, I think he's right. So I think, but that also speaks to the problem with the divide between black men and black women. So I look at myself as a highly undisrespectable black. Who gonna say, like, I think I'm the shit, but I have the results in life to prove it. And the only people I can tell you that literally try to disparage me, but it's because black women do not know how to achieve without being in competition with their man. It's literally their number one flaw, bro. I don't see how we could discredit that. Literally, they do not know how to make themselves look capable without making us look weak. It's their number one flaw. Prototype, what you got? I'm trying to hear the rebuttal. Their number one flaw.
I don't got no rebuttal because this sounds crazy to me. What you just said makes no sense to me.
Her husband makes 4 times the amount that she makes.
Look, we're not gonna put that. We're not gonna put a disrespectful woman. We're not gonna put that on race because they're everywhere. I mean, there's white women that disrespect their hiring men. Come on, man. You can't name a man that ain't been disrespected by a woman of any race. Like, everybody had their shot. Everybody got disrespected by every race. Like, come on, man.
The difference being consequences. The difference being consequences. There are no consequences for black women for the way they talk about men versus other tribes of women who face severe consequences when they talk about them.
Consequence for black women is they're not getting married.
That's true. That's true.
They choose that.
Yeah, there you go. Hold on.
White women that are disrespectful aren't married either.
Disrespectful women. They're all on the outs.
Fantasy and John. Go ahead.
All these disrespectful women are on the outs, and there's a lot more disrespectful women now than there were back in the day. So you guys saying, "Oh, it's a black woman," the more likely you are. That's proximity, sir. You can go anywhere and be disrespected by a woman today, and it doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter what race she is. You can go anywhere. If you're gonna go outside of your comfort zone and not be surrounded by black people, you're gonna get disrespected by other races too. People don't care. People are rude and mean and nasty today. But there are a lot of people like me who are bright, happy, and everywhere we go, we're sunshine. Everywhere we go, we get praise. So people gravitate towards us.
I think that has a lot to do with your titties.
Okay, cool. All right, so
I will say that. I do have a rebuttal to what Dragon said. He said I was next.
Okay, go ahead.
I think anybody will just smile up in your face, Fantasy, but okay, fine.
We know why she went to that graduation like that, because she got that zaddy. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Not a mama at that graduation liked her. They all hated her guts.
They were.
What you looking at, dear?
Can y'all stop simping for a second, please, and be grown men?
Go ahead, John. We'll stop.
Can y'all stop simping and be grown men? This really is ridiculous.
Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
So
I'm gonna go ahead.
So
John, go ahead.
this is
I've
if you
never
stop
in my
telling me
life
go
been
ahead,
rude
let
to
me
a
talk.
big woman. Never.
Yeah, Lee. So now, if the culture of what we were dealing with is that women have really benefited from feminism, and men need to understand. Men need to understand, like, stop giving the power of a woman to determine what a relationship, the direction the relationship is going to go into. And so what Fantasy was right about is it's not just black women; it's the culture of women in general. Which is why I'm saying, which is why I really stand on. I really stand on this, that for any man who's built himself, and in order to build himself, he had to go through several trials and tribulations and ups and downs. So anything he's went through to help get him to that point he is right now, those things he's been through built his principles and his standards that's going to hold him accountable throughout his life. So any person he deals with on a relationship level with a woman, she has to be able to meet those standards, because he's not going to put himself at risk because you don't want to follow his principles. So it's really not about race. It could be proximity, as Fantasy Alice was saying. But the problem is, if it's any woman he decides to go with, no matter what race she comes from, no matter what economic level she comes from, no matter what, I don't care where if she's willing to follow his program and stay on his principles, we cannot ever limit this man's choices.
I agree.
Okay, so we can agree with that. But now check this out. And maybe you guys missed the data from the beginning. The census puts, black men who marry at like 80% plus, like I think it's like 85%. So we know that most black men are marrying, when they marry black women. That includes those guys who are top level too, by the way. And I want to say the higher they go and the more money that they have, again, this is not 100%, but those guys are still over 80% too. So it's not like those guys are not marrying black women. I look at it like this. There's a saying, okay, I know some of you guys are military. If you want to be married to a general, you got to marry a lieutenant first, right? So look, I'm going to tell you like this. Why would any guy pick you after he's already got to the height of where it is he's going to go, and then you show up talking about, okay, now I'm ready to be your wife? Yeah. I wouldn't even consider you. You didn't, so if you want to be the general's wife, you better be the lieutenant's wife when he starts off. So, I look at it like this. If you are not, trying to be there for him when he's doing all that stuff en route to where it is he's going, then I don't know why you even, feel like you deserve a shot. Now, I will tell you that maybe the top level and the better women and the women who kind of, have advantage over you are going to get an opportunity versus you. But I say once a guy gets there, what does he need you for? He doesn't even need you. The only reason he would need you at that point is that he actually wants to produce children and leave a legacy. Now, at that point, race is immaterial. Now he's picking the best option. So I'm eliminating race based off of that, because you weren't there when he was building himself up. Why would he get to the top level and then pick you just based off of race? So that's something women are going to have to think about.
All right, let me get these super chats read. Then I got a question, and I want to start with you, Fantasy, and then Fantasy. EBD didn't name. All of y'all are like the interracial relationship specialists on the show today. All right, Perry Unlikely, $20. Fantasy Island Girl is right. I continually hear people from majority black spaces speak on race with no idea. I'm from a place with 2% black. Now I live in ATL. My wife is black and sister-in-law is white. Proximity. All right. Proximity. Claire Rogers, $5. EBD talking about the black and white relationships causing an ick. Like he ain't got a white girl in the bed right now. He probably does.
She's there. She's there.
Marcus Evans, $5. Big facts are women have been in competition with us for years. So Trigger Mike is right. Always. And women like Fantasy Island Girl can't accept that. It's all good. Thank y'all for the super chats. Keep that coming. Support the Trigger Mike show. No game is free, and I thank y'all for all y'all support. This is a dope panel and a dope discussion. I'm learning a hell of a lot. Because
we got a woman right here. We got a woman right here.
I've only bang, huh?
We got a woman right here. Are women in competition with men? Because I thought women were in competition with other women. Men are in competition with men.
I understand why black men think we're in competition.
Listen, like this is something I'm extremely passionate about. This might rival the number one reason why most black women aren't married and most black marriages aren't lasting. Think about it this way. Who is the number one type of woman to try to outwardly renegotiate gender roles simply because she's working? Right? So think about it this way. Most women and most ethnic women, definitely African women, Indian women, you hear stories about a man working to put his wife through medical school as a cab driver, and then now she's a doctor and he's still a cab driver. right? But she does not disrespect him in his own home. She still serves him at the table because she understands the order of family. Our women look, the moment they get $1, look down on a man simply because he might be moving at the same pace as her.
Let me prove you right. Let me prove you right. If a man makes $30,000 a year, will she submit to that man?
Fantasy? You have an answer?
Fantasy Island.
Wait, in this scenario, is she making less than him? Like we're
No,
saying?
I don't know. I just need if a man, I don't care. No other questions. Just if a man makes $30,000 a year, would a woman submit to that man?
Submit him to him. Yes, he can get a woman to submit to him.
No. Should
Especially
everyone? Should any woman he deal with submit to him in marriage?
I guess he's only going to date people in his.
That's really vague, though.
He's only going to date people that he can get access.
It's not vague. It's not vague at all.
$2,000 a year on unemployment.
Your man is behind you, Fantasy. Turn it off.
I know my man is behind me. He just got back from the gym. And this is an
interracial. You trying to call us fat? Is that what you're trying to do? She subliminally just called us fat. You see?
He just got back from the gym, though.
No. So what would your answer be, Fantasy Island girl? Like every woman that this guy messes with that's $30,000 that makes $30,000, he's gonna seriously take seriously marry her.
Ridiculous question.
Should she
No, hold on. Listen, no, it's not ridiculous. Hold on. I'm gonna tell you why. Because the reason why is we're talking about competition now. We weren't talking about competition. I would ask the question. Because, for example, if he makes $30,000 and she goes off and make a job, makes $50,000, $60,000, is she gonna continue to listen to that man? So what we're proving is that it's about competition. Because if it wasn't about competition, she would submit no matter how much money she made when he come up.
That's a flawed premise, my brother.
I don't know. I think it's an easy one to understand.
Yo, why can't y'all just understand women's nature, man? Like this, it's not that. It's their nature to be provided for. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they're not competing with us. They're just being them.
Hold on. Prototype. This is where I actually think it is a problem, because a lot of men, we don't talk about this a lot, set their women up to be in that position, because we don't ever really talk about it like this, but men are the secondary caregivers. My dad worked, like when my mom wasn't working, my dad worked 16 hours a day and slept a few. Simply because women work, we got to be home with the kids, right? So if she was willing to stay home, I could just work more and be out doing whatever it is for whatever we needed. But simply, what do wives say in modern times? Well, I want to work. My dreams matter too. All right, go to work. So now I can't scale anything as fast simply because I got to be home with the kids.
Then he didn't look, man. There's a thing called selling the dream, man. If he can't sell his dream, if he can't sell the dream to make her sacrifice whatever, or to believe in the dream it's one, then that's his fault. He's a bad salesman. Like I can tell my wife, like, hey, like if you could quit today, she'll quit. Right. Or she wants to she can work. It's what I would want. If she believes in the dream.
Okay, a woman who is
working and you let her spend her money on the bullshit she want to spend it on, then that's your fault. So if you're working, your woman wants to work, right? Yeah. And you let her go to work because she wants to go out there and wrestle a dragon. If her money doesn't go to the household, then that's your fault.
Well, it's supposed to.
Her money gonna buy. If she gonna listen, if you make $50,000 and your wife has to work to put the other $50,000 in, but she made $60,000, I don't give a shit what the number is. If she's working and she's your wife, if you let her dictate what she's gonna do with her money while you try to rustle all the bills and shit, then that's your fault.
No, that's not. I don't think we're having the same.
So it's not a competition. You're saying
that's not the same thing.
We're not talking about.
And it sounds like you're dealing with a selfish woman, not an idiot man.
What I'm saying is, no. So this is what we're talking about. So this is what we're talking about, Mr. Payne. So I think what usually happens is that men will be working, let's say, blue collar. A blue collar guy is an electrician. Or working for the shipyard. He went through the apprenticeship. Exactly. So he gets a girl that's working on her nursing degree. Right. Or in fact, let me use this example because this is actually something that happened to a friend of mine.
These examples are too long.
He's in the military. His wife uses his GI Bill, gets a nursing degree, they marry for 10 years, goes all the way up to be a nurse practitioner, and divorces him because he's only a lab tech and he just got out.
But they had a fucked up relationship to begin with.
Say again?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. You're leaving out all the crucial things that makes this woman not a good woman to begin with. You can't just say black women are like. Listen, most guys, there's so many men who have put their shit on the line for women who later on achieved, and those ladies are still there. They don't just automatically go away. You can't just put that on black women.
This is not something that we are guessing. This is what black women are saying out their own mouths. Literally in a group chat right now, all they keep saying is, why can't black men make more money? Why can't black men make more money?
No, that's not the scenario you just gave.
I don't think so, bro. I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I don't agree, Mike.
They're not the same issue.
That's not. Yeah, that's a different issue. You're saying
we were talking about competition. We're talking about competition.
Okay, well then let's go back.
And so that's the point. That's the whole point I was making. That's the whole point I was making when I made my example. Because women will not. Okay, women look at submitting as a number value, but that's inaccurate. That's not actually submitting. Submitting has nothing to do with numbers at all. Submitting is about playing your role in a marriage. And so take the numbers away. I don't know why y'all modern men. I don't know how modern men are being so bamboozled by women to make them think that submitting is about money.
Yep.
It's about what you could provide.
It's about leadership.
It's not necessarily about competition. It's mainly.
So why are you guys not?
They're submitting to leadership.
Submitting is about expectation.
Hold on, y'all. So y'all,
I don't think it's a matter of competition. I think it's a matter of control.
Hold on, y'all. It's not. None of y'all are actually wrong. That is what submitting is supposed to be about. That is no longer what it's about. Women have conditional submission. They have placed a number value on it. Prototype was right. Pain was right. Fantasy was right. That is what submission is traditionally supposed to be about. But the issue is that how do we have women that go to school and we allowed it? Because if men actually cared about women making more than them, we never would have allowed y'all to be educated. Because that is a direct influence on you making more money. We would have been like, fuck that. Y'all not going to school. We outlaw it. But we don't care. We let y'all go to school. We even encourage it and let you do it on our benefits, right? So, but the issue is that once a woman starts to scale even a little bit past her man, she starts to look down on him, starts to disrespect him, and now her submission becomes conditional. This is literally the biggest problem in the black community. How can y'all overlook that?
Right. Yes, and a lot
that
of
is not the biggest problem in the black community.
The main thing about that particular scenario is the main thing about that particular scenario is it's not necessarily about competition, it's about control. Right. And with most women, the amount of control is based upon, as you said, Trigger Mike, a dollar amount. If she goes to school and gets this RN degree while he's still at the factory, that level, now she has a level of control because she has access to more money, and that money equates to control. So whenever a man makes more money, she knows that she doesn't have as much control. But in order for her to get a balance in the relationship, monetarily, she has to come up. And when she comes up and exceeds that man, then she, in her mind, has a level of control over him.
Have y'all never dated women that make more money than y'all?
I like how you. Hold on. I like how you said.
I haven't dated a woman that made more money than me.
So the difference. Wait. So the difference being. Let
me just say this on this point, Mike. You're married, right? If your wife started to make more money than you, she's gonna take over your household.
No. This is what we're saying. I don't have that problem.
Right.
What I think it is that we
how can you not have that problem and everybody else does?
Because I'm Nigerian. That shit ain't going down in my house.
I'm Nigerian and that ain't going down in my
Hang on. Because I'll tell you the difference. I will tell you the difference. Every woman in every tribe, the highest value she could obtain is her man. Her man can get the house. Her man can get the car. Her man can get the vacation. The man is the access to a better life. For a black woman in our community, it's the education, it's the dollar, and then she believes that her life is 100% in control and that she no longer have to listen to or submit to another man in her entire life. It's the dollar amount. They've traded one value for another. We've never valued money. We only use money as a means and access to obtain, and protect women in our families.
Okay, so now they get the outcomes that come with that. Which is
loneliness with women. I mean, what do you
Here
think when you say strong, Black, independent woman? When you use these words, when women use these words, strong meaning what? Strong compared to who? A man, right? You can't be stronger than another woman. That's not what they're saying. They're saying independent. Independent from who? Not from another woman, from another man.
It is another woman. It's not a man. They're comparing themselves to women, dog.
Strong, independent women are not independent from other women. They're independent.
Strong, independent women look at housewives and everything. Weak.
Exactly. No,
they're not comparing themselves to men. They're comparing themselves to women who they think are weak for submitting to men. That's what that is.
Prototype. You look at it. Prototype. You look at it.
Yeah, you're wrong, fam.
Prototype. You look at this there because they are competing with.
They are competing. Already given. It's been 3 men that have already given their gentlemen speak on this. I'm a woman. Let me give one female take. Okay.
Oh, so you want us to bow down? So you want us to bow down to you and let you go? Just graciously let you go. That's what you want.
Nothing to do with bowing down to our ego. This is directly about women.
So everybody's jockeying for position.
Hold on. Go ahead.
Directly about women. What is wrong? So Black women that are independent and they're screaming that they're independent, that is because they are single. So they're saying they're not sitting here living off of government assistance, struggling, being a baby mama that can't take care of her kids. That stereotype doesn't fit me. I am strong and independent while I'm in this independent state. I'm not struggling. I don't need handouts from everybody. I got this. I got my kids. When a man comes in to that structure to take care of them, everybody wants a man to come save them. Everybody wants a man to come take care of them. So I don't understand where you guys don't see the correlation here that I can clearly see that I've already learned my entire life and that I make sure I avoid in my adulthood. I don't want to be independent and single. I always want to make sure that I am under a man's covering.
All right, so that makes almost no sense.
Okay.
You can't. You have to be. You
Fantasy. You interrupted for that.
If you said you want to always be under a man's covering, then you understand that you are interdependent, not independent.
While you are single, you are what?
Well, no, Fantasy. I think I'm gonna help you out. Use the term self-sufficient, not independent.
Yes, I like that. I like that.
Self-sufficient.
Self-sufficient is a better word to use. However, the INDEP, that song did not come out singing self-sufficient, or it would have been used. It would have been more popular. Independent has been marketed and pushed towards. This is what a single woman should be. Independent. Don't be needing somebody. Don't be going to sleep with a man just because you need him to pay your rent. Pay your own rent.
That's true. But what we're talking about is not. If you give a woman an inch, they will take a mile. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. We're trying to help women when we say, don't say independent, because no one is independent.
I agree.
You can do everything you name. You can pay your rent, but you cannot live without men. It leads. I think it's all fruit from the same poisonous tree. It leads to this problem that we're having with women. What's the number one group of women that use the term independent to describe themselves? They're also the least married. They're also the most aggressive towards their men. They also disrespect the most in relationships. They also claim that they need a larger group of things that are luxurious just to qualify them being in a relationship. All of it is from that independent narrative. Of course, be self-sufficient. I'm only attracted to self-sufficient women. I'm only attracted to them. So, and if you look at the data from dating apps, it's literally the female VP that gets the most hits. Men are attracted to self-sufficient women. But if you say you don't need me, I say that's a goddamn lie. That is a goddamn lie. You gonna call the police when that robber come. Children get snatched from women. Nobody testing a dad and snatching kids from men. Y'all are the most vulnerable beings on the United States. In the world, and y'all call yourselves independent. That's a lie. Y'all were crying in your house during the pandemic. Y'all were crying in your house.
Which is even crazy that you would allow them to even say self-sufficient, because there's really no way they can be self-sufficient.
I mean,
I don't care how y'all dress a pig up. It's still a pig. So you can change the leg. What I'm saying, you can't. I don't care how you dress it. I don't care how you dress it up. They cannot survive without the presence of men being around. And we keep doing this. We keep trying to argue the crazy logic and try to justify crazy logic. Y'all can never make that understandable for anybody, because to be self-sufficient means that you can do it on your own. You can't. No man can do it on their own.
Nope.
You can't be self-sufficient if you can't protect yourself. I spent a lot of time on the streets. I visited a lot of female single mothers, single moms, single women homes. They could not protect themselves. I don't understand how you could be self-sufficient.
I go with a single mama. She shot at motherfuckers trying to come in our door. You can be self-sufficient. You can be independent. You can protect yourself.
No, hold on. The reason why I think it's so egregious when women do it, let me ask you this, Fantasy. Do you think men and women are equal?
In what way, Trigger Mike?
Well, so most women are going to say yes. But did women need help gaining equality? Yes or no?
Yes.
Then you're not equal. Like this is how men think. That's why it's such an egregious
Everyone
thing.
needs help
Look,
gaining
Aristotle said.
Black men need help gaining equality.
But you didn't disingenuous. Hold on, you being disingenuous.
Independence and strength.
Hold on, men in general
we
give
already
women
know
rights.
what the answer is.
Men in general give women rights. Nowhere in the world we ever see a woman giving a man rights. They can't do it. Men can fight for rights. So if it's a black man fighting a white man, he can fight for it. No. I'm not going to dominate the conversation. I'm
changing the question
so no, listen. I'm not going. This is what I'm saying to you. Listen, a black man went to war and fought for his rights.
Did he get help getting his rights or not?
Yeah, he got help from other black men.
Did he get help getting his
black
rights
men,
or not?
black
from other
men,
black men.
black men went to war. Black men went to war. Black men went to war. Black men went to war.
Hold on. In a country, we're talking about interracial dating, so we can talk about interracial fighting, interracial warring. Shit, we can talk about all of it.
Okay, so
let me finish the super chats, and then Fanny, goddamn, untwist your face. We got her hot. She like these motherfuckers. All right, hold on. I want you first on this next question. Is Ric Flair says $2? Is Captain Save a Hoe Marvel or DC? I have no idea. Lou, $5. Gentlemen, stop trying to get women not to be women. Women now get to choose what the qualifications are for the submission they give you. That is correct. And they have that power. And you know the power men have still? Not to choose their ass.
Hello. Right. There it is.
All right, Fantasy. Let's finally get this next
and
question.
Women don't have any power, but keep going.
You're right. All right. Fantasy goes first on this one. Do you think people code switch when dating interracially? I'm a drop.
No, I think people code switch when they're dating interculturally. So when you grew up in the suburbs and then all of a sudden you have a boyfriend from the hood, you code switching for his family and he's code switching for yours. When you grew up in the same suburban neighborhood, you're probably not going to have to code switch because you generally speak the same language. You have the same cultures. But the code switching thing is really a culture switching thing. Like, I don't want them to think they can't really understand me because of this cultural difference. So let me try not to use that. Let me make sure that when we're communicating, we understand each other. So I'm not going to use slang where they have to every word. What is that? Because that's what I was going through with my ex-husband. What is that? What does that mean? What is that? What does that mean? I don't know what you're saying. So it was fun learning it. However, it was very different. And when I went to his family, they were like, who is this white girl? And I was like, I'm clearly chocolate. We're clearly in love. We're already married. And it was an issue because we were culturally different. I had more issue going home to meet his family than I had going to meet my man's family now because we speak the same language, basically.
Dame,
did that relationship tell you should have been with a white man?
No. It told me I shouldn't have dated someone that's culturally different from me.
All right.
Dame, you next. We're going around.
I would agree with that. That actually makes sense.
Yeah, that's hard, dog.
Yeah. Dame, you're next, man, because we're going around the horn.
You want me to answer that question, or you want me to ask?
Do you think people code switch when dating interracially?
Yeah, I'm 100% with Fantasy. It's just like I think it's the same thing. I think it's if you can relate to them. There's a difference between trying to be what you're not
and just living in who you are, like really rocking how you rock. Like there's girls, there's people who from Oakland who are straight up Oakland, and they Mexican, they white, they straight Oakland, and they can ABA say, I mean, they know it. They know they know how to do the thistle dance. They know all that, and they get down with it. And so you don't have, there's no switching needed. But there are some people who grew up in in Piedmont, brothers in Piedmont, who are straight up went to Piedmont High, straight white, who are Carlton Banks, and that's how they rock. So the people, there's no code switching if you rock like Carlton Banks, and that's who you are, because that's who you grew up around, that's who you grew up with. And then you date women who in that same culture. I think I 100% agree with what she said.
I got you. Okay. I'll go real quick. As
I'll
always,
go next.
Okay. Well,
No,
we're
no,
going around. It's okay. But anyway, having interracially dated like all my life, since 5, I think it's stripping all the way to modern deal. I think way back when, it's a survival mechanism, right? Yeah, you have to know the environment you're in. You have to know who you're around. And you may have to act accordingly in order to kind of fit in and not stand out as much. So every time I've been over, homegirl's parents' house, it's always, maybe some more articulation than I would my family or my friends, right? It's just a different personality, a different vibe. You kind of let your hair down around your best friend than you would your family, than you would a stranger's parents or some kind of a corporate function, right? But I mean, I've had the code switch. I mean, there's just no lie about it. How come you don't act this way over here, not this way? So I get called out on it, but I'm like, yeah, you don't occupy the body, and you don't want to seem threatening in any way, and you don't want to off-put these people over here who are just living their lives. You kind of want to like fit in rather than stand out in different environments. So I'll say that much from my personal experience.
Yeah, real quick, I just think the cultural, just like I don't disagree with what Fantasy says. I think if the more you have to code switch to go interracial, whether it's with a white or Asian or somebody outside of your normal culture, the less likely I think you'll be dealing with that person in the first place, right? So that you have to have something in common with the person, whether they're white or not, depending on where you are. So I can dig that. So, but let's just say, but I would think men will be less likely to code switch than women, especially if white women, black women are going with a white man, or an Asian woman's going with a white man, because if they look at him as superior, I think they'd be more, they'd probably be more likely to acquiesce to what he wants. And if a black man, goes with another woman, you expect her to acquiesce to what you want, so. But I think the culture thing is a big deal. So we're going to make you a T-shirt, Fantasy Island Girl, the most chocolate white girl we've ever seen. So if that's you wear it well. So this color.
We're black, and we exist, and we're not less black because
I'm going to land it there. What are you talking about?
Only black people try to take away our blackness because of the way we speak.
Or who we marry.
Or who we marry.
All right, next. Go ahead, Prototype.
Go ahead, man.
No, I definitely think it's not necessarily, it's a cultural thing, you know what I mean? Because there's like if I dated a rich black girl.
Trigger Mike, take that shit down.
But if a dude dated a rich black girl, you know what I'm saying, or vice versa, I think he would try to act accordingly, like, because he's trying to impress the folks. So I don't necessarily think it's a racial thing. I think that is a cultural or what you say, Island Girl? What you say it was a hierarchy thing, or so? You said something earlier that was a structural thing that where people date across cultures. Class. Yeah, there it is. It's a class thing. Yeah, I think that's a class thing.
Quick question. Just put it out there. Island Girl. We will.
Can we keep going for you answer another question?
No, it's just one quick because I
wanted to chime in on that though.
You're dating a white guy. Has he met your parents, and has he code switched? That's it. That's all I want to know.
No.
You're gonna distract.
Okay, that's all. That's it.
When he met my parents, they loved him exactly how he is.
Okay, just keep it moving.
He's listening to country music right now.
You're from where, Island Girl?
I'm a military brat.
All right, BA.
Makes sense.
What you got?
She didn't answer the question, but I'll go. He deflected from it.
Where am I supposed to say? Iowa? That's where I spent
going?
5
Can we
years.
keep
Everywhere
going?
else, I don't know.
Can we keep
Go
going?
ahead. Go ahead, B. What you got?
That's
What you
all.
got?
I would just say, and I don't mean to be vulgar or anything, but niggas know how to speak formal English, and brothers know how to talk to his community. So, of course, as you know, Dame, no, in California, people think that, oh, you guys speak very proper, but no, that's just the way that we grew up. But if we go to the neighborhoods or the communities where the majority of white people are at, of course, we're gonna speak more formal because they're not used to our slang. They're not used to our way of speaking, Black English. So, of course, we don't want to continuously repeat ourselves because they don't understand. So, what are we going to do? We're going to speak formal English to them. So, am I going to, change up and act brand new? No, it's still part of me because that's how I grew up. But I just want to be understood without repeating myself. That's all. There's no such thing as, oh, well, since you're from the hood, you got to switch up and turn it off and turn it on. No, you grew up speaking formal English, and that's I hate to say it, but white people, that's all they speak is just formal English, but we kind of spice it up, and it's called Black English or Ebonics or African American vernacular English. But
You've
yeah,
obviously never
in
been
a
around
nut.
country white folk. They don't speak formal English, bro.
I'm talking about the mass majority. Okay, not just those
The mass majority in
minorities
California.
in the South. What was that?
That's the mass majority in California. You got to go some other places, man. The white people don't speak clear either.
That redneck talk, I don't understand it.
Are you talking about in California? They don't speak proper English? Is that
No,
what
I'm
you're
saying
referring
other
to?
places in California.
Oh,
Other
okay.
places other than California.
Places like where? Can you name some cities?
Alabama, Mississippi.
When I go visit my family in
Alabama,
Mississippi,
those are states. Those are not cities in California.
I go to Clarksdale,
We're
Mississippi.
talking about outside of California.
Oh, wait. Prototype. I mean, I'm just curious to know because I'm out here in Sacramento right now. So if you can name some of those spots, I may agree with you on. So
No, you don't
can
gotta
name
agree.
some
They
of those
just ran it
cities?
down to you. You don't gotta agree. They just ran
Okay,
the whole list.
but those are states. Those aren't those
He
aren't
said
cities.
outside of
States, it don't really matter any particular city. Like there's places where white people don't speak proper English. That's all.
Yeah, mainly the South. I know.
Yeah. Okay, John, what you got on it? John, what you got on it?
So, most of all, I think mostly all women have to code switch, even whether it's interracial, because a woman should adapt herself to the man that she's dating or pursuing to marry her. She has to accept his lead and his rule. So therefore she's going to adapt her character, her morals to him. Actually, that's how that works. So code switching, does it happen? Yes, it should happen. A man should not code switch. A man should stand on his principles and merit and things that he build. He should stay the same. He should move throughout the world how he moves throughout the world. If he respond to him how he moves around the world. So do people interact? Do interracial couple? Do people code switch in interracial dating? I think they do, but it's dangerous when a man does it, and women should do it. No matter who she dates, she should code switch, and that's why it's good. I'll lay my plan right here too. A woman should only be with one man her whole life, because code switching can actually leave her confused after a while.
Oh, okay. All right. Trey, what you got on it?
All right. Yeah, I lie to women, but I don't code switch. I am who I am, and I talk to women exactly I talk to everybody else. I will say this, though. I have found myself having to explain what I'm saying more to Hispanic women than to white women. White women, for whatever reason, they do have a tendency to understand what I'm saying. And I'm from D.C., and for those of you who never been there, we kind of have our own kind of language in D.C. We kind of talk our own kind of way there. So, but I never really had a problem with white women. I've more so had a problem with Hispanic women explaining to them because they were like, well, what does that mean? I don't understand that. I don't understand what that means. And I've had to break it down to them, but I don't change up the way that I speak pretty much for anybody. Now, there is a professional side of me. When I was standing in front of a 2-star general, you can't talk like that. It doesn't work that way, right? But when I was out and about, I speak to everybody the same. I don't care what your race is. I don't care who you are. I don't care whether I'm dating you or not. If you don't like me for the way I talk, that's your damn problem. That's not mine. I'm more than likely not telling you the truth anyway. So who cares?
All right, Kevin.
Yeah, man, he's good. Yeah, so men don't need to be changing who they are. Be what you are, not what you ain't. And then on top of that, I understand why women might want to adjust. But that being said, they didn't need to be very careful about that, because if you adjust too much in one direction or the other, now you're changing yourself to, unless you're literally gonna marry that man and that's the guy you selected, then you need to be very careful with that. But men, stay what it is with your normal language, your normal personality, because that's what's going to actually make you who you are versus all of this switching around. Men really don't do that much anyway. And that's what I'll say with that. Next person.
All right, that's Stu. What's up?
Just some more dumb YouTube shit as normal. Code switching. Let's be real. It's a form of slavery or victimism. You don't believe in yourself. You look in the mirror and you see dust and crust, just like the woman or the man that you're dealing with. So you're trying to flip and pretend like you're something that you're not. You're going to get mollywopped and ragdrawled by that man or woman, modern man or woman, because it's a person you don't qualify for. And 6 weeks later, you're going to be on a dust panel, code switching with these punk ass talking points that don't make any sense, switching codes, flipping and flopping, and I'm going to come up here and troll you. So do what you want to do. I have no problem trolling whoever. Anybody want any dust? Anybody?
What's up, Scam Likely? What's up,
You
Scam
about
Likely?
to get the whole stream taken down.
Sprinkle that. Sprinkle them, baby.
My apology with the language. I try to keep it clean.
Sprinkle them, Dusty.
I think there's some. Okay, so when it comes to interracial dating, I'll say this, because intergenerationally, we've been I think we've been more and more kind of confused. I mean, how many white women have we seen like dress, act, have like the black culture and the black feature? Like, I don't know. Like,
I hate that, EBD.
Yeah, but think about it. I mean, just think about it. Think about the 1980s. It was a big hair, everything, fashion. Now the 90s. Now there's TLC. Then there's backwards pants, it's crisscross. Now in 2020 and something like that, we got this thing where white women kind of like assume the identity of a black female, even in their speech and how they carry themselves.
What type of identity? Can you unpack that a little bit? What type of identity?
Because so like think about it. Big hoop earrings, right? We see that a lot of white women wear that. That's usually black features that black women wear as far as fashion goes and style. Like, we've seen like this thing where like white women acquiesce to black women features, even in the speech. Even in the attitude,
there's bonnets on the runways.
And the reason I'm asking all this, are you talking about white people, non-black people going into degenerate, like low-level behavior? Is that what you're talking about?
There is some ratchetness to there too. There is a white woman I used to mess with who was like affiliated, like you know what I'm saying, like affiliated, like dressed that way, carry yourself that way, like dated only black men exclusively. Carry the attitude and carry the behavior, but you know what I mean. She was acquiescing.
You see the type of behavior that they're emulating, the lower level behavior. That being said, they can go back to being white or Hispanic or anything
anytime
they want to
tomorrow.
And that's the difference.
There's no woman who's a bigger chameleon than the black.
I've been wanting to ask the panel a question.
Okay, so when you guys say stuff like that, can you explain it a bit?
And all of that stuff, man.
I'm gonna have to. Hold on.
Hang on. Let Payne and then Dame go. Payne, go ahead and finish your point, and then Dame.
I'm just saying, listen. I hate when black people talk about cultural appropriation, especially when it comes to women. White women, they do what they do, but black women spend all their time trying to match white women's beauty standards, right? With all the makeup and the hair and all that shit that so many men say we don't want. Right? I mean, they just do.
Because that's fine. They just don't get picked. Men say they don't want that, right?
That's what we say. Nobody's the long eyelashes, the shit encrusted fingernails. No, I think that's culturally just black. But
Dane, what you got?
I want to ask this question because I'm gonna have to jump off a little bit. I'm just curious about what the panel has to say. Can you date interracially and still be pro-black?
I already said no to that earlier.
No, not really.
Okay.
Frederick Douglass had a white woman.
I'm answering that question. If it's a man, hold on. Let me answer the question.
And they're gonna say so.
A man can do it. but it's hard for a woman to do it. It's hard for a woman to do it.
I'm gonna ask you something. Maya Angelou is the quintessential black.
That makes no sense.
People put up when they put up black excellence when it comes to most effectively putting out the displaying the black experience and representing black intelligence and beauty. Maya Angelou is always put up there. She married nothing but white dudes.
Dane. That was the next question.
She exclusively married white men. But still, she still holds to high regard. Cornel West, there's Frederick Douglass, there's a lot of people who
John Legend,
who historically have been held up as bastions of black excellence, and they've been in interracial relationships.
Malcolm X.
What's the criteria?
Who said John the Baptist was crazy?
Black excellence and pro-black are not the same thing.
No, but so you don't think that
Trey
Maya Angelou was pro-black?
I don't know.
Not really. She was a chameleon. Listen, there's no fucking way a woman could she be real pro-black and when she's taking all kinds of sausage energy from a white man.
I mean, she's a woman though. She's a woman though.
I'm not gonna help you, black man.
I only expect women to do what women going to do. So they're always going to do whatever's best in their best interest. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I can't call it with a woman.
That's funny because it's just like it. So what that's saying is like say for example, I got on a panel before and I was saying like some of the things I noticed about because I got this big thing where it was like this white guy on the panel was like, why don't black people just get over like stuff like that, just get over it. And I was like, it really is annoying as fuck to me to get on the panel and the white dudes like black people get over, or they use these other black people as this person did it, you should be able to do it too without understanding what
the racial showcasing,
and so it's just one of those things where, and I just like, and then somebody jumped on me was like, well, your wife's white, you have no skin in the game, you have nothing. I was like, wait a minute, I've been with my wife married 15 years. I'm 48 years old, so I have 33 years of being a black man going through in the Bay. I grew up in Oakland in the 80s from a mama who was growing up in the 60s. So I know I was exposed to all kinds of shit. So it's just one of those.
Dang.
Well, no,
you what? That don't mean you're pro-black. I mean, you just don't hate us.
Let me jump in.
Let me finish my statement.
Let him finish, and then I got to read super chat. That's an actual question, so everybody's gonna get a chance.
Yeah. So the thing it was just like, but because of that. I've recognized when young black brothers, I've been part of organizations going to school that mentor young black men and how to help them get jobs, fill out, apply for college, get, tutored and stuff like that. I've donated money to black organizations and stuff like that. And this was before I got into interracial relations. I was doing this in my 20s, So it was just one of those things. So basically what they're saying, now that anything you've done to try to help facilitate the movement of black people has been erased because now I'm with somebody that's not black and I have biracial children. I mean, to me, it just seems like the dumbest thing to say to somebody, but like your blackness is only contingent upon you fitting into you marrying who we say you should be with.
No, that's not.
Look, you from the Bay, right? You from Oakland. The Black Panthers used to say, "We'll take y'all donations, but y'all can't be a part of it." To white people, right?
Trigger gonna read super chats. And then they're gonna let everybody go.
Let me just add this thing because I know what you're saying. I know it's not fair, but you're asking everybody else to have a little bit of cognitive dissonance by seeing you as you could be an upstanding black man, right? But the most intimate thing we could do is it's not right or wrong. You could have a white woman and all that kind of stuff, and a black woman could have a white man. But being with somebody is the most intimate thing you can do, right? Mm-hmm. So if that person's outside the culture, you can't hold it against other people being a little reticent of where you're coming from. And that doesn't mean you can't be for black advocacy and all that kind of stuff. I don't believe that that's true. But it's hard to come to a whole bunch of people like in an organization and talk any like blackity black thing, and then you bring up the most intimate person is white.
Hold on. Let me get the
let Trigger go. Let Trigger go. Let Trigger go.
Get the super chats ready, y'all.
I want to answer this. I want to answer this. So Trigger again, please.
Yes, Marcus Evans again, $5. Appreciate it.
Hey, you want me to read super chats?
No. Let me get him out real quick because we got to get to the my children coming home soon, and my wife got to see patients. Divesting and interracial dating is one of the things that's destroying our community. Jack Carter or Jacques, I don't know, $5. Only time code switching is needed is when giving presentations and reading aloud. I agree. And I've been doing it so long in the corporate world that this is not even my real voice. I like literally you will go on autopilot with your code switching voice. So I don't recommend people do it unless you sound really ghetto.
I talk the same everywhere I go, so I'm in trouble.
No, you're not really in trouble. It's just that once you get around a bunch of people, we literally leave whole word parts off as Black people. We speak really bad, like pigged in broken English to each other that you want to make sure you don't do it, and you give your best whatever voice. Charles Key Sr., $2. Non-Western women are the new normal. I think it's becoming more normal. I agree with that. All right, if you're just tuning in, we got another one. This $5 foot long doesn't see race. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that, Jack Carter. We appreciate that.
Not the humble
This
brag.
conversation is dope. This is rivaling. Look, I thought Friday's show was the best show. This one might be the best conversation. I got the numbers up all crazy. So if you're just tuning into the Trigger Mike show, we are talking about, is interracial dating the new normal? Dame done jumped the gun and put out the new question all early, but I'm going to give my little spiel on this. Ekene, I see you in the back. I'm going to let you up. So the next question is, can you date outside of the Black race and still be considered pro-Black? I'm going to use like John Legend and other people as an example. I think you, of course, can continue to fight and advocate for your people. But let me make an example. Let me use myself as an example. I thought about it, right, as somebody who wanted to keep my cultural values upheld, to be with a principled woman that was principled like me, that knew to respect people, put your best foot forward, was career oriented and all of that. And if I did not marry another Nigerian or an African woman, I knew that I was going to have to marry a Black American woman because that's who I liked, who I went to school with, all of that. And then I thought about something. I said, let me put on my native clothing. What does a mixed kid look like in that? And I just didn't like the picture. I'm not going to lie. I felt like me being an alpha, me doing anything in the Black community, having Black kids, it validates me. It gives me credibility that I might otherwise lose if I date outside of my race. Now, look at Umar Johnson. I really think his advocacy for Black people is noted, and he's pretty consistent on some of the things he talks about. But I feel like this Negro need to shut up until he marries a Black woman about anybody else marrying Black.
I agree with you.
Dude, like, doesn't he have kids? Like out of wedlock?
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
No, does he?
Even culturally, I'm like, dude, until you marry a Black woman, shut up about this. That part where he told men to go marry single mothers, I literally was like, dude, shut up. Shut up. Because until you marry, like, if you want to validate how much you love the Black community, the number one way to do that is to marry a Black woman. No matter how troublesome they act, there are good ones still out there. Go find one. I do believe you do lose a little bit of credibility in some situations as far as your ability to talk and stand in front. You see what I'm saying? Like, you can't stand in front with your white wife at the Black. You see what I'm saying? You got to be maybe in the third row because we know we got you, brother.
I'm not going to be wearing a
Can I go next? Can I go next? Can I go next?
Go ahead, John. I'm going to drop down. Go ahead.
So the way I see this is, as I said earlier, I think men can do it, but women can't. And the reason why, this is my argument, because when a woman marries any man, thank you. When a woman marries any man, she takes his culture. She takes his name. She takes his culture. And anything goes with that man. Men do not change for the women that they marry. Women that change, adapt to that man, how it should move traditionally. Second of all, the reason why it's okay for a man to do it, a man to get married outside of his race, because whoever he marries, that woman now comes to his race or comes to his culture. So if he marries a white woman, an Asian woman, or any other woman, Black woman, whatever, African woman, whatever the case is, whoever he marries, she adapts to him. So that's why a Black man can be pro-Black, and his kids are going to be looked at as Black because the father is going to be Black. In traditional cultures and biblical traditional cultures, the family went after the man, and so whatever the race of that man is, that's what the family is. So therefore, what Dane was speaking earlier, Dane could be. I think Dane said he's married to a white woman, right? So if that's the case, then that means Dane, whatever attached to him, is attached to Dane because he's a black man.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, because if one of my kids end up curing cancer, they're gonna be like, "This black man cured cancer." They're not gonna be like, "This biracial kid." They're gonna look at it a certain way. It's like society views my children as black. They don't view them as, oh, you know, even Barack Obama, the first black, even though he technically he's not black African American because his dad is Kenyan, and you know, so it was like. It's one of those things where it gets funny because like when there's exceptionalism or something that's done great, it's all accepted. But if it's degeneracy, then it's I told you, you know.
Quarter drop rule. But Ikene, go ahead. What's your thoughts on it, sir?
Let me put it this way, right? It's going to be a little controversial, but it's going to also sync with what most of you have said. To me, a man or a woman can fall in love to who they want to fall in love to. That's number one. But then number two is this. If there is always consequences to our decisions. You see what I'm saying? Whatever decision we make, there is good and bad. So you cannot eat your cake and have it, meaning that if you marry a white woman because you're black and you say you're pro-black, nobody's going to believe you 100%. They can only believe you 50% because guess what? Your interest is 50%. Most people that will be black and marry blacks, right, do it for the love of totality of their culture. That doesn't mean you shouldn't marry a white woman. But if you marry a white woman, people will view that you're trying to tap into the white community. And yes, you are. Subconsciously, you are. In the open, you might deny it, but you want to benefit from the privilege. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
I think that's outdated, my brother.
But guess what? It's not outdated. I'm sorry for that. It's not outdated. It's how humans are going to think. So you can't control how people are going to think. Just like people will not control your decision. My wife is African American. I'm Nigerian. Nigerians do tell me, "Oh, you're Nigerian, but you married an African American, right?" I said, "I married a black woman." I could have dated a white woman and married a white woman, but to me, my interest is black first. I stick to that community, and even my wife has a family lineage that goes all the way down to Nigeria through slavery, right? But to me, I'm sticking black. But Nigerian woman don't care, right? She's going to tell me, "No, you married a black woman from America." You see what I'm saying? She's going to say that. But I have a point because the fact that she's black neutralizes a whole lot, right? So that is why we as black men, when we marry people outside our race, it affects us greatly.
Were you rebelling against the Nigerian culture or trying to have access to the Black African American country? That's what you said.
No, I didn't.
I'm just curious if it goes both ways.
Yes. Guess what? And if you know me, I never go against people's question because your question is what you have in mind. I'm always going to answer it. And the answer is, I never rebelled against Nigerian culture because my ex-fiancé is Nigerian. My wife happened to be the next person, right, that I fell in love to. And I married her. So to me, my ex-fiancé is Nigerian, and then my current wife is Nigerian. So it happens to be the next black woman, right, that I fell in love to. But I don't hold that against people that marry white. But what I know is this. If you pro-black completely, you're never going to marry a white woman. But if you have that freedom of choice, right, you believe in the freedom of choice, yes, you can marry a white woman, but that doesn't take away the fact that you're pro-black, right? But you still want to tap. You still want to tap into the benefit of.
You saw that, John?
Yeah.
The only thing. Wait. The only thing I'll say to that. Having married a white woman and having a child with a white woman and having dated mostly white women in my life, I cannot speak on the fact on the perception that subconsciously what I was trying to access is power, only because I've always had to face obstacles here in America while dating interracially. There were no benefits. There were no get out of jail free cards. Wait. There is no I get pulled over and they're not checking my ID because I'm with a white girl. There is no there is no family discount. There is no I get this my coffee for free because I'm with a white girl. There are no benefits to interracial dating. There are only There are only multiple challenges that either you can last together as a couple and go through the shit on the other side because the relationship is worth it. You are into each other and you are consistently tested. It is not a walk down the aisle.
I wouldn't have checked your ID if you was with a white girl and I pulled you over.
But that's what I'm saying to Mr. Ikene's point. I'm just saying when we're saying we're subconsciously trying to access something that we don't have, that's not necessarily true. These are challenges that we must face, and it is not easy because society still has an ick when you see a black man walking down the street holding hands with a white woman. In the restaurant, in the restaurant, in the supermarket, in the store, sometimes in the car, if you got the top down, it doesn't matter where we are. There are still somebody somewhere that has a problem with it and is not going to give you any brownie points. We don't get high fives. We don't give each other the dap. Hey, you dated a white girl, I'm dating a white girl too. So there is no club. There is no society of black men that only date white women. There's none of this. When it happens, and there's a lot of challenges that you have to face. Both white girls get some static, but black men especially get static. Your mama don't like it, your auntie don't like it, your sister don't like it, and all of the black women in your life, they don't like it either. So like I'm saying, it's not an easy thing. Her daddy don't like it either. So there's a lot of different static coming from all different directions, inside and outside, right? And the relationship's either going to last because the bond is that strong, or it's going to fall apart because of all the bullshit. Just look at the movie Save the Last Dance. It dealt with this very issue.
Jeez.
I'll say
Into
this.
the black dragon. It doesn't even matter to if mom or sister don't like it, because at the end of the day, we have to stop conceding our power to women and what women think. I don't care if it's your mom or your sister or your aunt or your grandma or your grandpa.
It's too late for that.
No, I agree. I agree, but that's not the world we live in, where you can just navigate the world.
No. What I'm saying to you, as men have to stop moving in the way that they care about what your mom and your aunt think.
Yeah,
it's too late, John.
Yeah. So and these two gentlemen married who they wanted to marry, and they're good with that. The issue. So to Ikene's point, the thing is that more applies to women versus men. As these gentlemen of these gentlemen just articulated, they're not getting any benefits by marrying outside of the race. Matter of fact, you could argue that it's more problematic. The women don't give you anything. You don't get any extra brownie points or no benefits whatsoever. It's just she's a woman of another race, and the only criticism I would have is, were you chasing that, or did it happen organically? If it happens organically, then that's good. No issues or problems there. But if you're one of those guys like, okay, I got to get me a non-black woman now you're looking like the white.
And that's what I think most.
Now you're looking exactly like the black man who are trying to do the exact same thing.
What if she's
trying to access whiteness or some other nonsense like that?
What if she's wealthy and she's next in line to get the money?
Trey, it doesn't matter. Let's be real.
I'm just saying. He said there's no benefit. If I marry a white woman and her family's wealthy, and when her daddy dies, all the money's going to go to her. That's not a benefit.
Trey, hear me out.
But that's probably not going to happen.
Trey, they're coming up here and actually talking about a community that doesn't exist.
Is that not
I'm saying the community doesn't exist anyway. They're worried about what white people think, the black people, your mama, your aunt, and everything. Where's the critical thinking? Where's the leadership that this woman's actually supposed to get? And where's the confidence? You're talking about grown men who's supposed to make a decision for a family, and they can't even look in the mirror and say, hey, I'm the best option for this black, white, Puerto Rican, whatever woman it is. No, I got to get confirmation from the community. No, I got to get confirmation from my mama. What the hell is that?
You live in a gynocentric society.
Anyway.
That's why.
Most of the black dudes want to smash a girl and leave her in the
street. That's not a real thing. We live in a gynocentric society now. People need to start realizing it. But I agree with John the Baptist. My mother, my sister, my grandmother have never had a hand in who I dated, and I quite frankly didn't give a damn what they thought, to be quite honest. And I never will. The woman that I brought home was a woman that I chose to bring home,
exist.
whether they like them or not. Let me speak on this topic real quick, because this is interesting to me. I think there are black people who are married to black people who are not pro-black. And I think ultimately, at the end of the day, I agree that the optics don't look right. You can't be at a million-man march with your white wife. It just doesn't look right. The optics don't look right. It doesn't make sense. However,
I agree.
Come here, Kelly.
Yeah, right.
I don't. Hold on, Trey. Hold on, Trey.
Let me finish.
Trey. Let me add it to you.
Let him land.
Let me finish. However, let me say though, I do think that it is based on, I spoke on this earlier, I think it's based on energy. What exactly are they doing to further the black community? If they're actually putting in work and they're doing positive work within the community, I don't really quite frankly care who they're married to, because the actions and the energy show that they are pro-black. But I do agree, the optics, it looks bad. I can't deny that. It just doesn't look right.
Yeah.
It's, you know what it is? It's pro-black asterisk.
Like suspect. Suspect.
Because look, Obama, I say this all the time. When everybody said African daddy, so that pushed him over to
anti-black.
Exactly. Super black side. Then you're like, oh, he got a white mama. But it like I say it all. Michelle Obama validated that man.
Yeah.
Him marrying her was the reason why you got to say the first black president and the first black family, the first black first family. She's the reason you got to say that. Because like Dame said, he's like, his kids are black. If he has, you got kids?
Yeah, I got 3 of them.
They're interracial.
Yeah, they're biracial. All 3 of them are
biracial. So people are gonna call the kids black, right? But then you'll say first black president. Then you'll say the first black. His wife is white. So you're gonna be like, the first black president.
So my biracial kids marry black.
This is why I say though. This is why.
It's just asterisk. It's like, oh, damn.
Black women would not vote for him. No.
But that's how. To me. Oh, go ahead, Kev. My bad, Kev.
I'll tell you what. You can't do what Tim Scott and Van Jones are doing. I don't know. Does he have a black wife, Tim Scott?
Yeah, he has a white wife.
Ooh,
okay, yeah. You can't do what Tim Scott or Van Jones are doing. That's the wrong way to do it. I'll tell you that. I'll stand firm on that one.
Well, Tim Scott's a conservative though, so I expect him to have.
Doesn't matter. They're doing it wrong. Because you got the one's liberal, the other one's conservative.
I think you want to throw Clarence Thomas in there.
I can look at
Clarence Thomas, Larry Elder, anybody who's doing what they're all doing it wrong. Absolutely.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean
by that? Meaning that they're running around trying to be black, and do all this other stuff that they haven't done anything. So Dane went down a list of things that he's done in support of black empowerment. I'm fine with that, even with him and his white wife and biracial kids.
Is there anything different?
Van Jones is running around trying to pretend that he's doing something in support of black empowerment, and he ain't done nothing. And he's getting money. That's a grip.
He's a
charlatan. That dude's a fraud.
Yeah. We need a strong black conservative movement, and anybody want to start that, you let me know. And I mean black conservative. I mean our own caucus made up of black conservative.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Because if you want to be like, but they're Republican, I said black conservative.
Right. I just put out my second piece on why we should divest from the Democratic Party.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna watch that.
I got to say this to you guys, right? We shouldn't do black conservative movement.
Why not?
Why not?
I'll tell you why. Because the number's not there that much. Most black men. No. Let me land. Most black men.
Sparta only needed 300.
Most black men. No, most black men are conservative in nature, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. You're good so far.
A whole lot of black men don't vote Republican Party like me. And I have the reason why. Is because that party, I've always seen that party as the party of a white interest, no matter what you say, because their attitude show that. I'm sorry, you might not.
Conservative is not a party. Conservative is not a party, though.
So that's why I said
conservative is a value, not a party. It's a value.
Where that gets broken up,
I'm heading somewhere.
But black men voted for Trump in the largest numbers of black people. So if you start your own caucus, remember black people, black or men set the trends. So if you see men that you admire, you see Trigger Mike, you see R-Pain, you're like, oh damn, them dudes conservative. Well, let me hear them out one time. We'd be like, forget what those dudes are doing, what they vote for. This is our voting block, and this is our agenda. and you say, well, they're conservative. Well, no, or they're Republican. Well, it's just the name then, because we're the caucus and they can't do blank without our vote. This is what they're doing, but this is what we're getting. They will come over to our side because the liberals don't give them shit and they vote liberal.
I understand where you're going.
We got to address this. We got to make sure to understand this. Liberals and conservative is not belong to a party. It's an ideal or a value that you believe in.
It's ideology. But this is what I'm trying to say.
It's a value.
Right? This is what I'm trying to say. We can start a black political movement that cover a wide range of black interests without putting the word conservative on it. Because once you put conservative on it, you limit the pool of people that will come into it because of black men history with Republicans. You know what I mean? But if you say we're going to start a black movement that will cover black interests like business, that's where I come in. We talk about investment, talk about so many things that have to cover with the black interest, and only elect people that will protect those interests.
If you put black on it, you're going to get less people than
Wait. So what happened? So what he said is correct. And the vehicle we have our two political parties, right? Or well, three actually, if you count independent. But the two political parties, Democrats and Republicans, you cannot withdraw one and say this one's all right and then this one's all right and that one's all wrong. You have to saturate both markets on this bicycle to ride it. And it doesn't matter who you vote for. It's the values that they stand for that you want to elect. Let me tell you
something.
And then it won't matter.
At the end of the day, I'm still a conservative and I'll still likely lean all the way Republican when I vote. Let me tell you why. There is no way until they stop conflating the LGBT agenda with the black agenda on the liberal side. Count me the fuck out. Count me out.
Me too.
They are directly responsible for literally desecrating the black household. Yet black people vote for them 90% of the time. The reason I say conservative is because black men were once the most conservative. When we were the first people in Congress, they were all Republican. So look at historically, we can vote Republican and be proud doing so. It's not about what any white person is doing.
That's why current laws just don't further any kind of black agendas or help things. That's just the way it is. The current policy. I'm in Texas right now. I'm from the Bay, but I'm from Texas. The vast majority of all the voter suppression was done in black and brown communities.
Of course, but even
that's why it's hard. It'd be like,
you
got a history of suppressing us physically through slavery and other laws of Jim Crow laws that were passed. So
hear me out with that. Even that I understand. If you're trying to win votes and gerrymandering is legal, guess what? I'm doing that shit to white people. If I'm trying to get in office and they don't want to vote for me. So that's what I'm saying. Everything is strategic. That's why you create your own caucus. So there is a consequence for doing that. That's what I'm saying.
But on both sides of the political party, not just one or the other, because it has to be one or the other. We have the same values. We have the same values. Now wait a minute. If we want to say that we want to conserve the traditional values
this conversation ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, but if you want it on one side, you're gonna have to vote for people on the other side that share those values. That way, they can work together for our interests as a collective.
I'm interested in
and not drop the ball
because the way he met his wife is the same way, almost exactly the way I met mine. I was at a party and somebody sat next to me and started talking and stuff like that. So I'm curious what you had to say. I was like blowing my mind. I was like, man, that sounds like my story exactly.
Yeah.
But if you look at it this way, right? I'm somebody that don't want to vote Democrats anymore, but you got to give me a Republican that does one thing, that is going to go there and make sure that the black man interest is at the forefront, not in the middle front, not at the bottom. No, it got to be at the forefront. Then I can vote for that person regardless of race and ethnicity.
They're not asking the same thing from the Democrats, though.
No. You did. I haven't finished saying what I want to say.
Interracial dating, now we're on politics.
I know. Like how'd that happen?
Hey, let Cassie get in there.
Excuse me. Excuse me, this applies to
we got to
Democrats right now.
get the young
Do
man
you
at the
know
bottom
why?
left. He ain't went yet.
Do you know why I want to stop
We got to get the man at the bottom
Democrats?
left in.
Man, we can give somebody else a chance, man.
20 seconds.
Man.
I've been listening
Land the
to you
plane,
guys.
Nigeria. Land the
I've been
plane,
listening to you
Nigeria.
guys.
Oh shit!
20 seconds, okay? Just 20 seconds. 20 seconds. 20 seconds. So
All right, 20
this
minutes.
applies to Democrats. That's why I don't want to vote Democrats anymore, because everything that they're saying right now is gay, gay, gay. Even exporting gay to Africa. So they lost my vote already. But I want someone that will protect black interests. That's all I care.
Got it. Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Kasim, and then we'll get final thoughts.
On the word or not piggybacking, but speaking about what Kevin C was talking about, there are some benefits when it comes to interracial dating, right? When I had met my girlfriend at that party, I was at a certain level in my career in retail management, and she has an MBA in economics. She had worked at some of the top banks, Deutsche Bank, Goldman Sachs, as a senior project manager. And I think the second year that we were dating, she was like, listen, the money is in like luxury retail. You got to get in luxury retail here in New York City if you really want to start making money. And she says, hey, I've been in that world. I can give you like a rundown as far as what you need to say, what you need to study, and what you need to do in order to be at that particular level where you can really start making, good six-figure money. And she redid my resume. We did some coaching, and then boom, I got hired.
Yeah.
I was in retail management. I worked at Ferrari. I was a store manager at Ferrari, right? And if it wasn't for her insight and her coaching of knowing how to be in that luxury market, I never would have gotten there.
A black
I
woman
never would have gotten there.
The experience. A black woman could have done that.
And because of that, because of that, I have my career has really like taken off, right? I'm in a very senior position, and let me land this plane. I think that there are some benefits when you kind of mix it up a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with that. Do I believe if I was with a black woman from the neighborhood here that I could have elevated to that level? I don't think so. But it really goes back to getting in where you fit in, right? Going where you appreciate it, and that's just what it is.
All right, so let me tell you, Dame, because I heard what you said, but remember, this is not really our opinion. This is what black women are saying out their own mouth. So if y'all go back some shows ago, I don't even remember the name. A black woman will tell you, I'm not building a man up. Why? So he can walk out my life with the next. They say it out of their own mouth. So it's not that he's speaking actual facts. And look at their other narrative is that they want an already built product, right? Why can't you be this already? Because she will not help you build. And then we know from historical data, the woman that helps him build, he will stay married to likely for the entirety of his life.
So let me say this. Let me say this.
I gotta let you brothers go. I appreciate it. I just appreciate kicking with you good brothers, man.
Anytime. Let me say this real quick. Have a good one, Dane. Let me say this. This is why I harp on the same stuff all the time. Is that men have to move like you play chess, and you're the king on the chessboard. I don't care what race woman you deal with, whether you're the black set or the white set, or any other any other chess piece you want to use. Everybody on that board benefits you. Anybody that's attached to you need to benefit you. Stop saying because if I pick a woman of a certain race, she's going to make me. No, anyone attached to you should put you in a better position to win. And if she can't put you in a better position to win, then you should attach yourself to that woman. It shouldn't be based on color. It should be based on the merit of that person. If she's been raised to be a wife, then she's going to benefit you, period.
Yeah, that's the only thing I would say to Kasim, and what you were just saying is that I'm not going to put that on the fact that she's white. I'm just going to put that on the fact that she's in that position, she's there, and she likes you and she's helping you.
Right, and she just happened to be white. She just happened to be white.
Yeah.
So just to wrap it up,
a black woman with the same experience and same affinity towards you would do the exact same thing. She needs to benefit you. Now, if she's not going to do that, then she's of no use to you, which is what John the Baptist was talking about.
I will say you're right, Mr. Kevin. If it's not romantic involvement, because I basically work with all black women, and when I interview for high level positions, it's a black female, or it's a woman VP or whatever. So if they're not romantically interested in you, absolutely, I believe they can help you. I just think we have now bad habits in relationships with women not wanting to help advance their man at all. They expect them to be an already built product. And I think
she's not a wife. Then she's not a wife on your side.
Exactly. It does not make her a good candidate for wife, because how can you help your man and compete with him at the same time? You cannot do it.
Okay, so
well,
just a final thought.
Not all. I'm sorry. Not all black women, but too many. Too many.
Right. So just to wrap it up with a final thought real quick on interracial dating, since that's the primary subject, I would say that the reasons why it's so prevalent now, especially in my kind of life, is because in my personal experience in trying to deal with black women, I do not get this welcoming submission that is offered, saying that I am here for you. I'm here. I get that from other races of women, and I've gotten it to where they're pursuing me and because they see the value of just me being a male. I've never had that from black women. So it's always been a pre-qualifier that either I'm not big enough, I'm not strong enough, I don't play basketball, I don't play football, I'm not muscular, I'm not Tyrese, I'm not any of these rappers or ballers or perceived athletes or practices in athletic fame, right? I'm the thinking guy. I became a software engineer. You can't really see that when you're a young kid growing up through boyhood to manhood to teenage and all that. But other women can. Other women don't see you as a dollar value. They see you as a man, and man brings value enough, more than enough. That is the difference. What separates whether or not you're good enough for a woman. A woman will submit to a man because she knows he can bring her everything. So that's the difference between how they're being raised from when they're little girls, seeing that their mother didn't need a man, that their grandmother don't need a man, their auntie don't need a man. And there's this culture of this, I don't need a man within the black woman community that we don't see in other cultures. And that's how you have interracial dating on the male side, because we're able to get submission from other cultures and not our own.
Which goes back to my point earlier when I spoke about how we first met, and we were at that restaurant for 3 hours, and she says, wow, like, you know what, you have more depth than I thought after talking with you, right? So I think it was a little bit of her recognizing my attributes, what my potential is exactly, and how far I can go, and if she was willing to kind of help me to get there, and she did.
Man, y'all, I just heard my kids come through the door, so I got to get out of here. This has literally been probably Rivals Friday is one of the best episodes. Y'all really got down to it on this one. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Let me see who is streaming right now, because I know one of my homies is what's today? One of my homies is
Monday,
on right now.
Monday.
I'll give you a final thought, then I'll take off. So
Yes,
look, so here's the deal on this. People are gonna, do the interracial thing and all that other stuff, and that's fine. No issues, no problem with that, as long as it's organic and you're not trying to force it. The other thing too is that let's not forget that when black men and black women marry each other, they do it at a really high rate, 80% plus. For women, for black women, it's 90%. All of that being said, I see it as peripheral activity. The other thing too is that I would argue, my biggest argument is not the interracial and all this other stuff. It's the fact that not enough black men and women are getting married. Period. 30% marriage rate overall. That comes from the census and other data, Department of Health, vital statistics. That is more of a problem than interracial, because we already know that when we do marry, it's going to be primarily black people. So I would put that more of a bigger issue versus the IR or anything else, or dating and mating outside of the race. Okay. Thanks for letting me on. Good topic, gentlemen.
Good seeing you, Kev. Take it easy, man.
All right, so you gonna do still final thoughts here?
Now you can get your final thought.
Real quick. One of the things that I give the black women a pass when they see a black man well-to-do with a white woman, because they know that they outnumber us 2 million by 2 million. So even if all of them got married, it would be like 2 million women left. So it hurts them more. But that's what I think. So, but like I said, interracial dating is inevitable. So let me just land it there. I need some water.
You do.
You choking on your lies. You're choking on your lies.
I was like,
You're choking on your lies.
Yeah, but look at this, right? It's just like when you guys were talking about code switching. Man, I gotta tell you, nobody switches code like Nigerian women, man. They switch code a lot. Like even from Nigeria, they're already speaking like white. Even by watching the movies, they switch code. When I came over here, right, people were so telling me that, oh, you have an accent. I'm like, I'm never going to change it for nothing. Men don't change their accents.
No,
women do. Yeah, women do code
I
switching.
said it affects women more. It does. Yep.
It does affect women because men are usually loyal to their race and to their culture. But the reason why black women are not, you think that they are loyal to their race and culture is because most race and culture don't want to marry them either. So that's why. But if they have a lot of men from other cultures running towards them, oh, they will be gone in a heartbeat. Because at the end of the day, a woman always go for somebody she thinks will put shelter over her, irrespective of race. They're not loyal to race or culture. Very few of them are, but they are always going to want protection and provision, no matter who is giving it.
All right. Right now, I would say some of them are loyal to sex, so they'll just stay with whoever they think is giving that. They'll giving that the best. All right.
Yes.
Y'all do with that as you will. I got to get out of here, man. Till tomorrow, we're gonna have another good topic for y'all.
All right.
I think tomorrow's topic, because TD Jakes blazed with a clip on IG. Tomorrow's topic is mothers are not fathers, and if the black preacher is coming back with that type of heat when I play that clip tomorrow, I'm like, oh boy, it's about to be a good time to be a black man. This dude went all the way scorched.
He's taking a lot of heat here lately.
Yeah, good. Because I'm gonna be honest, y'all know my rule of thumb. You have to use our women as far as they've strayed from the church and principles and all of that. If a black woman agrees with you too much, you're doing the wrong thing. In this day and age, if she agrees with you, that means you're being too liberal. If go against the grain, give some conservative principled values, and if she don't agree and they fighting you right now in 2023, you're doing the right thing. So they are literally getting on his ass for saying what he's saying. So you got my thumbs up, bro. All right, y'all.
Take it easy.
All right, you'll be good.
All right, y'all. This is probably the dopest show. I ain't gonna lie. This was a dope show, dope panel. Thanks everybody for coming through. Drop a like on the way out. No shows tonight. I'm gonna ask JR. We got to do a married people show. Put a one in the chat if you want to see a show talking just about young, people of all ages, married people just going through a bunch of hard questions, kind of like that Black Love show. Maybe we'll do something like that. But I also don't want people to come up with their spouse. I think y'all are messy and y'all will start asking things. So we're gonna try. I'm gonna see if he wants to. We're gonna pilot that. That's what. Let me stop putting stuff together. We're gonna pilot that show for married people. I'm gonna see if we can do that on Mondays. But tomorrow we got the Trigger Mike show, of course. Oh no, not tomorrow. Chaotic show is on tomorrow, and King Talk. So I see here that he has given up financial independence on the King Talk show, and Chaotic will also be on tomorrow. I'll be back Wednesday with that Mothers Are Not Fathers show and that TD Jakes excerpt. That'll be a great time and a great conversation. Man, y'all really rocked out with us today. I appreciate it. So my wife brought Popeyes home. She's a vegetarian. So I'm like, what did you do? The funniest thing, as soon as I went to the car a moment ago, I was like, you did not buy Popeyes for your employees on Juneteenth. She sure as hell did. The blackest thing I've ever seen in my life. But I'm about to go downstairs and eat the leftovers. All right, y'all. Be good. Please drop a super chat or a super thanks. Oh, let me read these super chats. My bad. Black Man Unfiltered, $2. Sidney Portier, Helly Belafonte, Harry Belafonte, pro-black. Were they married to white people? White women? I think so. Charles Keys Sr., Black women live in Rio, DR, PR, CR, and Bogota. Sure as hell do. You are right. Lot better manners, too. Charles Keys Sr., brothers go to Romania, and you will have to beat 9s and 10s off of you. Ooh! Jack Carter, $2. Advice. Want to be a better man, take steroids. Jack, stop trolling. But, man, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for coming through. And I will check y'all out next time. I am out of here. Egane, I think I see your message in the back. Give me a second. I don't think I even have his info. Give me 1 second. We out.